What is up, people? This is Brandishing Magnutism podcast. This is one of your hosts, B. Illa. How you doing?
Oh, wow.
Came with energy, Brand.
I mean, we're coming with all the energy.
Got to
This
come in
is
with
some
energy.
day. I mean,
People
I love
listening.
that.
You got to-
You got that late night energy.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. We're alive. We're kicking.
Of course.
So,
What's your intro? Who are you?
I don't. I mean, they know me.
I don't know.
I got so many names.
I mean, you know, we try
I
to
know you need to narrow it down, bro.
Oh no, they're limitless. This is Black Magic.
Oh, Black
Oh,
Magic.
Magic.
I mean,
Okay, man.
it changes. It's got to change.
And we have our follow-up guest here. What's going on? What you go ahead and give your intro. Who is this?
I'm
Who's
good.
your
You know, Black Jakar is sitting over here.
He was here. He was live in person. This was going to be in person, all persons, everything's. And then events happen. It's called life. You can't control some of that stuff. And it happens, you know.
It does happen.
It's called kids.
That's really what it comes down to. So family. Family.
We're family.
It's all fast and furious. It just happens.
Yeah.
I think this show, man, right now, this episode, I kind of called this everything, everywhere, all at once convo discussion. Not that we're talking about the movie. We could talk about that at some point.
That will be on another.
We're not talking about the movie,
another
but
podcast.
we're going to be talking about a few things. First up, we are going to be discussing She-Hulk. Mainly up to this point, we're at episode 4.
Five.
Five?
Right?
Did we just
Five.
happened?
I think the 5 was the last one.
5 just happened. And
How many more do we have?
there's 9 episodes.
5. Is there 9?
It's 9.
Okay. So
I thought it was
not
10.
I thought it was 10.
I
too.
thought it was 10, but it turns out it's 9. Which I
Okay.
guess you can hear. If you listen to some of the fans, they say that's one too many. They would like it to probably stop right now. But we don't have to talk about the haters yet. We'll talk about that after we talk about what we think about this show. I guess I'll go first since I'm talking. I like the show.
Do it.
I like the show where it's at. I feel like obviously there's a short episodes. I think I heard that the last episode was the shortest one. It was at like 24 minutes. But being it that it's extended to a 9 episode series from where they're trying to get to, which I don't really know exactly.
Right.
They're throwing a lot at us, so we don't know what Titania, we don't know what some of these other side characters are. They've been doing the Abomination portion the last episode, and then the introduction of that is episode 2, where she has to represent him and talks to the Hulk. But ultimately, overall, man, I mean, they had to get a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, so they kind of had some quick jumps to things, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that's a problem with the show.
If they were going to go longer for episode, then I think you would have been able to see a lot more things develop. But for the length, like you were saying, for the length of the episode,
right,
they are getting quick hits out there. And I think they're evenly spreading this story as best they can.
I mean, they kind of have to.
Right.
So
yeah, they do.
The character out here and discuss what's going on with Jennifer Walters and her little crew, getting her a job, and then giving her a client, and then she becomes a client herself. I don't know. I mean, I feel like where I haven't really felt a misstep so much. That's just like glaring to me. Because I mean, I guess I take it for what it is, face value. It's an entertainment show. It's not meant to be too serious. It doesn't take itself too serious. She's breaking the fourth wall.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you're doing that, then this is a comedy.
Right. And anytime you're getting that, I mean, you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. That it's not really meant to be looked at as the writing's going to be this real heart-wrenching, in-depth, mind-blowing exploration of words and how it's phrased to then just, put you in some sort of world where you're like, I can't believe I'm listening to this poetry. And dude, it's a TV show about a woman that's green and she got the powers from her cousin. It's some of this stuff is just kind of, it is what it is, man. So I don't have a problem with it. I like where it's at. Some of the points that you could maybe say you had issues with some of the feminist stuff that they talk about, new age of women, with her discussing about the what was it, episode 1, where she said she did infinitely had the ability to control her anger better than Bruce.
That
People a lot had issues, a lot of issues with
feasible to me, seeing that. And I want to know, okay, first off, let's just ask this. The majority of the people that had issues with it, were they males?
How
many females had an issue with that scene about her saying that she always has to put up with all the things that women put up with every day in life, whether it's catcalling, whether it's walking the street by themselves, like,
yeah, from what I've seen,
I don't know if I've heard too many women having an issue with that
scene. And that's kind of interesting, because after the second episode, she hasn't worn a dress since or a skirt of any kind when she's in Hulk form.
Right.
After the second episode, she's always been in a pantsuit from there on.
And the suit has definitely been made to look way. Even when she first showed up, she had the suit.
Wear a dress, though.
She had the dress, the dress suit when she was in court.
Right.
That was before she got fired. But then when she got fired, the first time she showed up in her dress.
Right.
So yes, this is the second episode, but the suits even after that, I feel like
they've all been just
the suits now just seem like they're huge.
Right.
Well, it's like they went away from actually showing her body or her figure as
she is going to wear another dress.
This next episode is about
she
to get
is
all,
going to
about
wear
to
a dress.
But I mean, little things like that. As far as the characters, I do kind of feel like some of the male characters are very much in the trope of mansplaining, dumb males being like goofy and kind of goofy. Her boss
was clueless, right?
Her ex-boss, the guy that fired her
clueless,
because he didn't want her. Hey, can you
Yeah.
get back? This is serious. Can you be yourself? Like, she's the same. She's just one giant size and one small size. The coworker she had at the old office, and he was a chauvinist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they've kind of made the male characters outside of the Hulk and then the guy that's at the office now.
I can understand why men are have you heard complaints from women about this show?
I have.
So okay, that's what I want to know.
I watched 2 videos last night on this last episode because I was just curious, because Amira likes it.
Right.
And she's watched every episode, and now she's gone into it with no knowledge of what She-Hulk is in the comics because she didn't read them, so she doesn't know. But just based off the show, she enjoys it. She enjoys the character. She's laughing. It's engaging to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's not bored. Good. It's a short amount of time, so you don't really have a lot of time to just be bored to where in 20 minutes you're like,
which
done.
I think it was on purpose, right?
Of course,
I do. I mean,
even though it feels like this last episode felt like it could have went a little longer.
It could have.
That could have been
all
a 40 minute episode. Like now it's getting good. Now we're getting to the next.
I think I've said after at least 2 or 3 episodes out of the 5 we've seen, I was waiting for another scene, and it cut. And I was like, dang, man, like you just got it going. Like this, like compared to, we watched it a little bit earlier. Moon Knight episodes feel like a movie.
Yeah, they do. The way it was made, obviously there's a lot of CGI in that
right,
too.
Of
so
course,
they have to put it and polish it to make it really nice. Even though in this story you have CGI at least for her,
right? But
in that one they had multiple characters that were going to be CGI oriented,
right?
In Moon Knight,
right?
But yeah, man, I just didn't. I don't necessarily know the real problems, but I have heard women have issues with it. Generally, a lot of it comes down to, and this is going to kind of branch to a conversation about the MCU and where it's at right now. We kind of want to talk about that anyway,
right?
But for the She-Hulk and the criticisms that it gets, I mean, it's a lot of people have gone online and have bombed it through like Rotten Tomatoes or any kind of grading or rating sites out there. on whether it's a good show or not. So it's like they purposely will go on and do that. And the bigger picture for them is they don't like the feminization of MCU. They feel it is getting to a woke standpoint to where it's like gender transition, gender swaps, making male characters that are predominantly strong or in a leadership role, kind of pulling them to the back to then be subservient to a female just for the betterment of what they say is woke for females to be the empowerment of the in a position. And I feel like She-Hulk, I feel like at that point, that kind of loud mass that speaks on that, I don't think they really watch the shows or the movies too much anymore. I think they go off of what the mob mentality is. So it's if they know it's coming out, because dude, She-Hulk got bashed and it barely came out
after the first
like
episode.
the first episode. It was like, oh, this is the worst. This is so bad. And it's like, okay, it can't be that bad. Like it honestly just can't be as bad as y'all making it out to be. Batwoman exists. And any of y'all have ever seen
Batgirl? I watched it.
I'm sorry. You can't tell me that this is anywhere close to what Batwoman is, or even what Supergirl had turned into. Like, we've seen the example of when it's just we're really enforcing this on you. I don't feel like the lead actress, I don't even what's her name, man? I forget. She's awesome. I think she's
a way better actress than I thought she was.
Yeah, she's playing.
Okay, so do you guys never seen it's called Black
yeah, you were telling me about that. Orphan or
Black Orphan.
Yeah, I've never
I
watched
started
that
watching
show.
it, but
evidently
I didn't finish
she's on that show.
She
That's what he was telling me.
She had to play 10 different characters with 10 different personalities.
Yeah, that's why I do recall seeing it. I just didn't finish it. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense then, because just the way that she does her facial expressions,
right,
how she just within that, I can tell she has a lot more going on as far as being able to pull out of her acting chops. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't. It feels natural for her
to
be Jennifer. It doesn't feel like I'm watching someone trying to act a role. It's like she just jumped right in, and they're like, "Oh, this is easy." We give her the line, she just does it, and it doesn't really feel like we have to coach her to how to act this part. I would just be curious as if on the set and with the director, if she's telling her like, "Hey, this is what you need to do. If you could do this a little bit," she probably just was like, "Whoa, we did that in like 2 takes, and that's only because we wanted to see something different, just because as a reel or
she
something."
Seems
goofy.
Really natural.
Her spot last night, or when we watched it last night, was when she was talking about her suit, and she was like, "Oh, I get to go," and looked at the camera. She broke the fourth wall, and in that big suit. I'm like, dude, it's like swallowing her. But it's like funny. It was after she was with her colleague, the black lawyer, that they were getting drinks. She said, "Oh, I'm glad we're friends," and that goes.
Yeah.
Either way,
she took a sip and walked off.
Yeah. She walked off. I'm like, those little moments where she does that. I'm like, I look at her facial expression and how she communicates to the camera. It fits, just like Ryan Reynolds fits. You know what I mean? Like it fits.
But I love the show, and I actually said this after about the second episode, because I was curious to kind of where they're going to go with the Hulk aspect of it.
Right.
And if you really like the last few, they haven't done a whole lot with the Hulk character. It's been more about her as the lawyer. Yeah, no.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Well, kind of like the name of the show is Hulk, She-Hulk. So So it's, for me, I kind of want to see him go somewhere with the Hulk character instead of just her being this basic lawyer. I mean, they're not even allowing her to be. They've taken away the fact that she can't, when she goes into the prison, she can't be the Hulk. She has to be her normal self.
Okay.
but yet she's the lawyer of
Abomination.
what the Abomination,
Right.
and that division
Right.
of these characters.
Human division.
But how is she going to be the lawyer of these characters when she can't even be in character?
Well, I mean, since she's one and the same, essentially it's just appearance. I guess you could look at it and say she's still Jennifer Walters, which she is, because it's her. It's just
Right.
she's in a larger body, whether that's a costume change or whether it's
Right.
makeup or whether it's whatever you could say. I mean, it's not like the She-Hulk character or persona is altered by being She-Hulk.
So
Jennifer Walters still
she
Jennifer
is
Walters.
going from a human Jennifer Walters to a large green, blue-haired Jennifer.
Like
Mhm.
personally, I would have liked to have seen last night when she went to confront what's the girl Titania at the show.
Yeah,
Right.
at her little gallery,
yeah,
whatever. Her
gallery.
Yeah.
Right.
And when she was being all smart to her and talking down to her and stuff,
Yeah.
at that point, I would have liked to see her turn into the Hulk and
I
tell
actually
her
didn't want her
to
do
stop.
that because
Really?
I feel like that would have been a setup for her. Like, I'm doing this big hoopla here and I'm putting your name everywhere. So I'm prepared for you to show up.
Right.
So the entire time when she walked in there as herself, I was like, hey, dude, don't lose your cool. Like, you have to stay. My thought was, you have to say Jennifer because she needs you to show up. And then that would like co-sign her She-Hulk like line.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
So when I saw her
that.
walk in there as herself, I was like, yeah, I think that's best. Go in there and talk to her as Jennifer Walters. Because if you went in there as She-Hulk, everyone, oh my God, it's She-Hulk. Oh my God, this is her line. Like, and she's having an appearance. Oh, Titanium is the coolest person ever. She got She-Hulk to come to She-Hulk.
Yeah, it could easily flip and then
it could have
pushing for her.
Right.
And it's like the whole point of me coming here was that didn't happen.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
So as soon as I saw her herself, I was like, okay, y'all go in that way. But I don't know. It didn't really accomplish nothing because Titania doesn't really care. And it seems like to be around like as a pest.
Yeah, Titania doesn't care. Apparently that's going to be something that they'll continue to roll with, where she's going to be in the mix as of what the last episode was showing. So that's definitely going to be something that we'll see again.
Oh yeah, she's all about taking advantage to make her money and build her brand.
Right. But I'm curious, man. I was like, you say you would like to see the Hulk. I feel like, man, if the Hulk came in, I feel like we kind of got the Hulk already, and I kind of would like to know more about her, because if we brought the Hulk into this mix, you understand that people would think that that's going to just take it. They would pretty much essentially be saying you can't even give her own show without having the Hulk.
No, I don't mean bring the Hulk himself in. I'm talking about as far as She-Hulk. Let her become She-Hulk more often than, like, we've gone 2 episodes and she hasn't been She-Hulk at all.
Oh, okay.
She's just been Jennifer.
All right. Yeah. That's more like it. That's what I was like. What?
Yeah,
like,
no, that's what I mean. I didn't mean for the Hulk to be involved.
I would say this: they're going opposite of what happens in the comics.
Right.
She doesn't like to be Jennifer in the comics.
Yes, it's the flip side. In the comics, she stays She-Hulk. She loves being She-Hulk.
So because of that, it's like I think they're just trying to. I mean, I guess I don't really know exactly what their point is when they do it that way.
I mean,
if they're trying to not value what Jennifer Walters is,
but they didn't they though
going there with the whole guy that dumped her thing.
Like, well, that's where I was.
Make sure that she knows her worth as a person more than her as a Hulk.
Right.
Yeah. Because I was going to say that's exactly what they did. They kind of like stomped on the real person.
Right.
And then after that,
because I won't deny it, I kind of felt a little you know, a little something for when she was sitting in that courtroom after that dude said that. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like, I'm not really into her, but I do like She-Hulk.
Yeah, that was kind of messed up, right?
Right.
That was like,
Yeah. But then when they ran, I don't know if anybody, how many people caught it, but when they were going through the interviews
mhm.
of the different people, you know, saying She-Hulk, She-Hulk, She-Hulk. Did you hear the one little black kid? And
No.
when they came to him, because he said when they got to him, he was like, She-Hulk, yeah, I'll smash.
Yeah. That was in the last episode.
Yeah.
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 They were describing all the stuff about, right.
Okay, I feel
Yeah.
like you recall that. Hearing that in the
He did
background.
say it. He did say
Yeah.
it.
I think
He
that's
said,
what
oh,
it
yeah, I'll
too.
smash.
Yeah, it did. Well, everything in that, but that was the point there.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That can make people mad, but it was the point that these people are saying all this condescending stuff about her. Like,
Yeah.
we meant to make you mad there. So, like, the people that get upset about stuff on this show, to me, don't either watch the show like we do, or they just want to be mad about Marvel stuff. Because I feel I love the show, so I feel like it covers a lot of different bases.
No,
I
it
think
does. I like the show a lot.
it's entertaining to the storyline of what we're watching. It's entertaining to the storyline that I think we already know what's coming. I've told Brandon before. I was like, man, her background, she's fought with the Fantastic Four. We know a Fantastic Four movie is coming. She got pulled to the planet to fight in Secret Wars. We know Secret Wars is coming. Like, these things are not being talked about.
What is that?
I have no idea.
What do
I don't
we
even
got?
have my
Is that speaker in the kitchen, man?
I don't even have my phone on.
It is.
I don't even have my phone on me. That's wild.
Damn,
Unless that watch is listening. I'm telling. Look already.
It did it to me that day.
My watch is listening to me, I guess.
You said something and it just triggered.
And it triggered Craig Mack.
Wow.
Hey, it scared the mess out of me one day. I was sitting in the kitchen.
Oh yeah. I had it playing in my car, and he got to the house before I did. And he got in here and was sitting in the kitchen. And when my car got over? In, it switched into the
Oh dang! He was like,
started playing.
You thought there was some ghost up in here, didn't you?
Hey man, what's really going on?
That was ridiculous. When you told me that, I was like, okay, so it's wild because that's happened before, where I've tried to play my phone and maybe it's froze or something's happening.
Right.
And I was like, all right, well, it's not working, and I've set it down, and then it just comes on. And yes, I've been scared. And I couldn't imagine the look on your face. No one was in here yet but you.
Right. That was it. I'm sitting there trying to eat.
And that poltergeist speakers just started making noise.
Oh, man. That kind of threw it off. So what were we talking about?
Oh, man.
Where were we at? We got this ghost up in y'all.
Anyway, we were giving the praises.
I think I was also kind of continuous talking about I don't know, maybe we weren't Hulk being in it. Or not Hulk being in it, but her being Jennifer Walters.
Right.
Right.
The fact that she enjoys being Jennifer Walters on the show.
Yeah, because I could see people having an issue with if she was a She-Hulk more, like what she is in comics or whatnot.
Right.
That if she was wanting to be She-Hulk more, then that's making Jennifer Walters, a regular person, seem like she's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like, you never know what angle people, you kind of see it before it even comes, right? You see it 100 miles away, like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I see where you guys are going to go with that. It shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is now.
I just enjoy the fact that you don't know what's going on. Like, a lot of people, it's weird. We've gotten to the point now where we want to know.
Right.
Curious. Like, people are wanting to know, and they want to know now, right? So ultimately, Marvel is making you wait. And when he's making you wait, people are getting frustrated. Like you said, some of these people just don't know that they're in a larger story here.
There's something else going on, man. We got all this stuff coming up, man.
A lot.
I know we're still talking about She-Hulk, and I think ultimately we all said the show's great, right? We like it. Not great. I'll say this: amazingly great. No,
Well,
it's just
even
really
like
good. I think it's good and entertaining, man. I
it
don't have
is.
any problems with it. No issues with it.
I think episode 4 was a little too much about Wong and that magician dude, though.
Okay, yeah, but that also might be setting up some crazy. See, this is the thing. We don't know. That
Right.
also might be setting up something for a later situation. Or it could have been just a, hey man, this dude is the director's wife, or not director, but somebody's husband, and he's a role. He was our dude in Entourage back in the day.
Yeah, he was. He's the one that was writing the story for Vince.
Yeah, met Ian. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows? That could be
Well,
something that they're doing with that. But you're right. I
well,
mean, it felt a little much. Wong has been in it three times.
No,
2 times.
twice, 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But the thing with that magician dude,
But they said they were
towards
going to have a
the
lot of
end,
cameos, right? I'm sorry. They said that.
we got one
yeah.
big one coming up.
But at the
And we're still
last,
waiting on another one.
We're still waiting on one big one coming up. We'll see
yeah,
how
it
that goes.
is. But I don't know what they're going to do with him, because the magician dude, they made it clear that he got kicked out of their training sessions.
How does he
Correct.
still have a sling ring?
And then at the end of the episode, when they were throwing out all of the demons,
Mm-hmm.
and Wong, I forgot what he did, and him and the his side dude, the black dude,
Mm-hmm.
made the comment about, that's something new. I've never seen that
Oh
before.
yeah, he did. He like swung them. He did something there. Like whoa, like
Yeah,
they were amazed at what he did.
Yeah, Wong.
Yeah,
like that was something they need to learn how to do.
right.
So I'm curious if they're going to do something with that dude.
I mean, it sounds like they kind of brought in like Satan in hell.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
still there.
So because of old girl that left and had that heart in her hand, I think she might come back and be something at some point.
Right.
Because she came out
Right.
of some portal, had a heart in her hand, and acted like it didn't bother her. Like she might
No.
be a character. She might be somebody that they're just
Right.
going to throw in and be like,
Because
"Eh, she's way too chill, way too chill for all that.
Right.
she
Even though you
said
live in
she
the
had
world.
to fight. She had to fight off some dwarf demon or something.
Right, man.
That's
And
how
they
it ripped her
yeah.
bra or dress strap.
Right.
So I'm like, that might come back and be something later. Who knows, man? I don't know. This stuff is what we have to deal with. This is why you
Then
kind
all
of
of a
watch it
sudden-
and then see what they come up with, right?
All
Oh.
of a sudden, her and Wong are tight.
Right. They're sitting
Right.
there watching
Wongy.
Sopranos. Yeah. So I mean, there's
they said they were placing bets on the fact that that girl was going to be a hit, and they all said that she was going to be a hit. I haven't forgot her name now. But I think Wong and her together work. It kind of, I mean, with his bluntness and his straightforwardness.
now I don't know if I need a show with them, but
No, not that at all. I just think that they understand that works, so they can use that as filler.
yeah,
That's something that they can play in between stuff.
yeah, she could be like, the thing is she can be referenced in a later movie,
Right,
or show up, and that's what I'm more waiting for too. I'm waiting for these shows to get obviously pulled into the movies at some point, or a reference or someone.
They already are,
and it's going to be like, okay, yeah, now we're seeing it, because I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for.
We know it's coming more and more. It's doing it.
Oh, for sure.
Because as soon as I saw, I mean, well, shoot, Wanda was in Doctor Strange, so like
in the events of
WandaVision stuff
WandaVision,
wasn't right. The reason why she was doing what she was doing because of the kids.
Yeah, I mean, so we can open.
No, that's true.
I mean, ultimately for the MCU with She-Hulk, I feel like this is a 9-episode show of a big character that's going to be for them in the running of this whole next phase that's going to be coming up, because I think they're just lining up their next set of people that they're going to be having these big events that are coming to these sagas, these things that people now kind of seem like they want to downplay. I mean, they showed it right there. He got Disney Plus on. That whole lineup that they had right there were all the shows.
Yeah.
And they got, we got the new Captain America coming up. We got
that's gonna be cool.
Black Panther coming up. We don't know what's gonna happen there. At least I don't want to know until I watch the movie and I'm sitting down seeing it outside of the first trailer. So I don't.
They better not show no more.
I don't want nothing.
I'm
else
done.
there.
I'm done looking at Black Panther stuff. It comes out in 2 months.
Yeah, I'm not trying to see nothing. So they got a lot coming up, and
in a few weeks, they're gonna have so much Black Panther on.
Oh yeah,
they're pushing it, man.
And I'm gonna be turning off the TV, yelling and screaming out the room with my ears clogged because I don't want to know anything about it, man. I just flat out don't show me anything. I want it to all be brand new and fresh as soon as I walk up in the theater and just feel the weight of that.
It's gonna be a lot, heavy, man. That's gonna be real heavy.
Yeah, it's gonna be heavy. And who knows, the intro of that is it gonna be all Marvel flipping with all like Chadwick stuff like they did with Stan Lee on Captain Marvel's movie?
Probably.
That's probably gonna be that.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna be nothing but real life Chadwick pictures of him doing things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that already is gonna set you up like,
oh shit. Dude. And the first thing they're gonna do is probably deal with that too.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna be something that they're gonna hang for the movie. Because if you're wanting to show the movie, obviously, but they're gonna deal with that early.
What if we have some footage that they already had filmed with him or something?
Oh, gosh.
And they had filmed sections or portions of it and then put that in.
Bro, do you know what that's gonna do to people, man?
Dude, I'm telling you, that's gonna be one of those. I'm ready for it. I want it. You know, a lot
you
of
walk
times
in there and he's got scenes, dog. I'll lose it.
If he has like an early scene,
I won't even lie about that, man.
Or whatever they film.
If he's got scenes in there, that'll be tough to get through.
Even if it's stuff from the cutting room floor of the first one, and they took it and it fits for where they're trying to go next.
That's tough.
And they drop it in there. Oh, dude, that's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know if I could get through that.
I mean, I'm gonna
like. I'm talking about without getting emotional.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna watch.
I think
dude,
you're gonna. I think everybody's gonna walk out and feel.
That would be. It's gonna be emotional already.
Yeah.
And if you see him, like he has scenes.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen him on screen in years, other than stuff.
For the reason you just said, I think it would be too emotional.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It would take away from the actual movie if they did it early on.
Maybe, but that's him.
I'm thinking. I know, but I'm thinking the scenes. If there are scenes with him, it's going to be at the end of the movie.
Post credit. I'm okay with that.
Post credit.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm cool with either or.
They're gonna do they've got to do a post credit kind of memento to him. That's gonna happen.
If they do, I mean, we'll have the intro with him,
right?
And then obviously we're gonna have
something in the end. Yeah,
remembering, and it'll be scenes of him talking.
Yeah,
it's gonna probably be an extended. I mean, because this is the first time you'll have an opportunity to do it since his death with a movie that's him. That's his movie. So you got to put. I mean, if any movie you're gonna do it, this would be the one where you extend
21 Bridges 2. Oh no.
Yep.
Yes, 21 Bridges 2.
Yeah, but that would have to lay right. This is his role, and it's literally the first thing that's going to drop like that of this magnitude after he passed away.
That's going to be nuts, man. I mean, so we have
they're building, man.
They're building, and again. We watched the video. I sent a video to our group. We have a Comic Cousins group at Discord. I sent it to them about this one random person that I found online that had a take on the MCU and it started off talking about She-Hulk. And the take itself was just kind of wild because it's just essentially within the first 30 seconds or so, minute of the video, it's him discussing and talking about how they gave us Endgame and he was curious to see where they were going to go after Endgame. And then he cuts to a scene of She-Hulk, and then it's just like he has another cut scene of them
and to
from
me,
another
that's
movie.
literally the reason why I can't take people like that seriously, because ultimately that's kind of how your brain works about the whole MCU is, hey, this was really cool, and now we're doing this, and I don't understand what's going on in between, and I've only watched these 3 things, but I really like this one thing. Okay, man. So you don't know what they're doing.
Right.
You don't. So I don't know if I can understand their point of view if you don't really know what we're doing. If you haven't been watching and you're not caught up, or at least like that's on y'all. You can get caught up when you want to.
Or
if you don't want to get caught up and you feel lost, you're lost. I mean, you got to catch, like, you're not on it.
Right. Because if you think you can only watch the last 3 things,
that doesn't mean bang on it because you're not on
everything.
Right. Like, don't bang on it if you're not on it. And then on top of that, it's just like, well, my thing is ultimately, it's like, if you don't like it, why are you using it for content, for clicks?
Right.
If you really don't like what the MCU is doing, you don't like where they're at. This isn't brand new. They've been doing this since 2008. So either by now, if this person enjoyed Endgame, and yet they enjoyed Endgame how many years after
literally
the said of 10 years build?
They took 10 years of storyline building towards a truly great movie, great film in Endgame, and then continues the conversation by crapping on it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on. The rest of the content was this dude saying, I don't know what they're doing now. They've completely fallen off their end game. Like, I don't know what these intermediary characters are doing. And the thought is, if you saw them do this build up before, you didn't really know what Thor was about.
No.
We didn't know Iron Man was that big of a deal.
No one knew Captain America when it came out. Like they knew, right. But I'm saying, like, Captain America itself, as a movie, you kind of
know him, but you don't know him the background.
You weren't anticipating these movies.
Dude, they just brought this dude out of the ice, Doug.
Right.
You didn't think that shit was gonna happen.
Right.
They were building this. So it's wild that that's happening. And now we're doing the same thing with some different characters and some same characters and a little overlap. And we're progressing this team. And you guys still don't like it. It literally, let's wait. You know what's coming. And he even points out, hey man, I know we got Secret Wars, but what are we watching until then? I was like, that shows me you're not watching this.
It shows you're not watching or appreciating and seeing what they're doing. They did 10 years and they only did movies.
Right.
Now they have TV shows and movies.
Right.
So now they can do some things.
And they haven't been bad. That's the thing.
They haven't been horrible. No, but
they haven't been horrible.
They've been doing what they're supposed to do. It allows them the platform to expand, not spend as much money, expand on the characters in the world that they're trying to build, they have built.
Right.
So now
you don't have to make as many movies.
Right. You don't have to make the movies. And what would feel worse if I make a movie that's an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours long of She-Hulk, and it was that bad, like, we had to get it out there, so we made a bad movie. Okay. So now your property's kind of damaged a little bit.
Right.
Because do we want to spend as much money we spent on the last one and that didn't get good? So are we going to do that or not?
And no. if you do that, you're going to have to do a sequel.
You'll have to do a sequel
to keep her character going.
Why not do what you did with Hulk, where you made the one movie and now you just sprinkled him in through all the other movies. Now, given that's because of the Universal thing, but even still, they didn't make another movie of his, and it didn't mess him up. It's fine.
But instead, let's make it a series, give it a few episodes, build a story, and we can still sprinkle her in the movies.
Right. It's like a win-win. Why are we trying to
fight? Win-win.
What are we trying to fight? What are we trying to
figure out? So let me ask you this. You think, and I've thought about this before, You think by letting Wanda be the first short series release put too much pressure on everything that followed?
I'll let you.
Because Wanda was, I think everybody was sitting
That's
around
that's a,
wanting
that's a
more.
good question, Doug. I think Wanda did set a bar for me anyway, because
Yeah,
I think that Wanda did some things that we weren't expecting. I
right.
mean, starting off with no color. Like that was something that threw me for a loop, even to the point where like I remember when the first episode had dropped and we were talking about it on our chat,
Yeah,
and literally a lot of folks were like, yeah, I don't know how long that's gonna last. And I'm like, listen, we know it's not gonna be black and white the entire show. We
Right.
know that.
right,
They've
right,
talked about it. They've even said, hey, it's only gonna be the first couple episodes. But still, like, I kind of liked what they were doing.
right,
Like this setup was good. Now,
right.
did they set the bar? Yes. I don't know if everything has lived up to that, but I will say that there's stuff that's just as good. I think I think that Loki is good.
I
I
think
think that
Loki was
Loki.
good.
I think that
Loki,
I'm looking forward. Like I really, really was on that what if, which I thoroughly
yeah,
enjoyed, but I was pleasantly surprised. I like that Loki show, man, and
yeah. I
I
did
like
too. I
I'm waiting
enjoy
for
Loki.
that second season.
You can kind
Yeah,
of tell the shows that are getting the
mhm,
attention.
Right?
They planned a little more with Loki.
They did.
Especially dealing with time travel,
It
right.
variants
it
outside of it,
worked.
outside of the timeline type stuff, so that they can kind of play with. You
Right.
know what I mean? You can kind of do some stuff with, and what he does, who knows if it's going to affect the real timeline,
Hey,
which it
listen,
might,
it can always stay over there
mhm,
until it needs to go over
until it
there.
needs to go back.
Go right.
That's the way it works. That's what I'm saying, man. They're smart about it. They're keeping things open. They're moving things around. We've got ways to bring people back. We've got ways to make you look here, and what's going on really is over
Right.
here. We've got these things. So even if like we have an issue with these scrolls, but we know scrolls work with us as well.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they're opening these doors to say, hey man, I can walk through any one of these to tell a different story.
Right.
Yeah, they're taking their time. Yeah,
Yeah.
you think these characters don't exist, and then what you're gonna do is watch a random movie, and out of nowhere, uh, you never know. Moon Knight might drop out of the sky on the moon
Mhm.
and work with a vampire or a werewolf or something. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like the
Right.
you have Blade. You know these things are coming. These characters, even if you don't know that, yeah, in a comic book they're working together, or you've seen them in the same book before.
Mhm.
They're all out there. You can see similar interests. You know they're building stuff, and especially if you're going to write an article that says you appreciate what they did before, then why don't you recognize that they're doing it again?
Right.
Yeah.
Um, my thought on your question, man, I don't know if it was WandaVision, whether that dropped and it gave a bar to where it's like you have to meet this. I honestly think just the announcements of the shows in general
Right.
had a bar that was going to be super high anyway, just
Right.
because
Yeah. I agree
people
with that.
knew the idea behind it
They
is
had to be good, though.
this is they're gonna be good,
Right.
and it's also gonna forward the movie storylines.
When I heard that,
yes,
that was the big thing for
so
me.
I think that is set it up to where the high expectations are. People expect them to be good. People expect them to be on point. They expect it to give them information to see I guess I would say, more clear view of where the main stories are going to go overall,
Right.
because they have time to do it now. We don't have to only do it within a movie form.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you don't have
I
to
got
wait several months in between. You get 2 movies, 3 movies a year to tell the story.
Right.
Now, in between those, maybe 2 movies, 3 movies.
We're gonna have 2-3
We're
shows.
gonna have 2, 3 shows that'll help out with that. Some people have felt like that's not what these shows are doing, but maybe we just had a misconcept of what they were doing with the shows in the first place.
And I
And
think
it's funny.
if they actually recognized it, it looks like you literally could do a show that's completely independent of this universe.
Well, that's why I think She-Hulk fits in that area so perfectly. I'd much rather see it as a show than a movie.
Of course.
Like I like the episodes because if you really take the content of it, even though I want to see more of her as She-Hulk, if you take the content of it, it's like a 30-minute comedy series.
It is.
And I think, and that's what makes it enjoyable and different from everything else.
I didn't really recognize it, but they had said before it came out that it was going to be on that Ally McBeal type feel as
Right.
like a female lead comedic law series.
And this is one of those, I think if they treated it like a real series and put out a different season like consistently, I would watch it consistently.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. Like I actually like the court scenes. I think they were actually, they held it down for an actual, putting witnesses on the stands, actually talking to folks and interviewing or cross-examining people. I thought it worked.
No, it did. It definitely worked more.
Yeah, no,
So it's gonna be interesting, man, to see how they do it. But it is one of those that I could definitely watch more.
Do you think
I'm looking forward
stands up to WandaVision's bar?
In a
Like I think Loki does. I think the rest of them are they're good. I don't know if they hand up to WandaVision for me.
no, she's
Hawkeye's
not.
pretty good as well. And
Yeah, it is. I think WandaVision is on its own, personally, for me.
Yeah, it's different.
WandaVision, the way it started, the way it ended, it just they did a lot of things I didn't expect them to do with WandaVision. And just the way it all came together and came about. So for me, if it's a 10, I think everything else is like just under that.
Right.
I think there's been a few 8s, and to me, Loki was probably the closest. Because at the end of Loki, I was like, "Damn, man, I don't want to wait."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That went real.
Right.
That went real.
Right.
Like
the end of Loki, I definitely was like, oh, I need that now. I need to. That has to be resolved.
Yeah, I felt like they need to jump right and have that ready to go. Like, next one back. Okay.
But no, She-Hulk is. I mean, it's right there with everything else. It's just it's more of a comedy. It's a different movie genre, so to speak.
Right.
For me.
Right. And I think one of the other things, because I mean, I think Miss Marvel is way different.
It is different.
That is unique to the character.
Coming of age.
And yeah, so I mean that's gonna be different. But I also feel like because we know WandaVision, we knew Vision going into it. There was a high expectation. So I'm really happy that it lived up to it and surpassed it to a degree. Falcon and Winter Soldier has some some people don't really know if they like that.
That was a 7 for me.
Yeah, I mean the Power Broker with Carter, what's her
Agent America or whatever.
Carter. No, I mean the Power
you're
Broker,
talking about
the daughter, the niece or whatever. I just can't remember what her name is. Not Sharon Carter. It's Sharon Carter.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Her being the Power Broker. Spoiler alert. Her being the Power Broker. What is that really going to mean? What is that ultimately going to play into? Was that written incorrectly? meaning making her the power broker? Did they somehow step on their own toes with writing and do something incorrect? So there's stuff within that show that people kind of had an issue with. Plus, there was problems with it just due to the fact that COVID hit. They had to redo some things.
That was the
some
big
choppiness
thing.
of it. The story wasn't necessarily as
that was the big
fluid
thing.
as some of the other ones. It's an issue.
That was the big thing. Was the interruption kind of made feel like it started and stopped.
Right. So that's one of the complaints for that show. But
I still like the content.
But one of my things is that it's like you still had two guys that were in the movies and made a show.
Right.
So I think one of the other aspects of it is that we can start having real characters that are in the movies that are movie stars and being like, come do a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Definitely. Like, come do a show. And now you can expand on what they did in their own movie. Again, you had Loki, you had WandaVision, you had Falcon and Winter Soldier. Sure. All characters that were in these big movies. Mm-hmm. So it's not just we're going to get these TV actors
right.
That are going to play in it. No, we're getting big time movie
because they know they might be in the movie
again. Yes, and you already know because Miss Marvel is going to be in the movie. Right. Monica Rambeau is going to be in the Marvel's movie. Right. So you had a spoiler. You had a cameo by Brie Larson as Captain Marvel in Miss Marvel. So that's going to happen, and they're going to be in it. So the exciting part about that too is that because of that, we're going to be able to see some of these characters continue their roles in the movie and in the TV show.
Right.
Which is going to help them be able to write these stories. And guess what, man? If you're not watching it, you might miss it. So it is what it is kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm on board with it. We talked about it that was like a month ago. Was it Comic-Con was back in what? July. So
but D23 was just a couple of weeks ago.
Right. That was like a week ago, right? So I mean, we have some things dropping, you know. I mean, if I know that I'm getting a Secret Wars, I'm getting the Captain America New World Order, whatever that's going to be, the Kang Dynasty, like, dude.
So I keep looking at the Marvel symbol when it comes up on the new stuff, like this last She-Hulk episode.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they have Scott Lang huge on the studio side. On the end,
right?
Like he's just standing there in the Ant-Man suit.
Is that him against the wall?
Yeah, when it flips up, when the Marvel flips up, I'm like, they've already strategically put.
I mean, they got Miss
all
Marvel
these new Miss Marvel's in there with her hands on her side.
Miss Marvel's in there. Who else is in there? Moon Knight's in there.
Moon Knight's in there now. It's like, man, they're moving these people in here. They're showing you right here. These people are about to be big. Like Ant-Man is going to be like an OG.
Ant-Man's going to be
an OG Avenger in these next couple of movies. Like
whatever reason going on, Ant-Man.
He's going to go through a lot of stuff in Quantumanium.
Yeah.
And whatever happens there, there's still Kang Dynasty after it.
Right.
So Ant-Man will have fought him before everybody else. So it's kind of wild, man. They're building a lot of stuff right now. There's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, we think they're secondary characters because they came from being secondary. But all these people are about to be front and center.
Man, I'm game for it. I'm ready for it to be. I just want to hear what people are going to say once all these things come to pass and we're still here. If God willing, we're still on this earth.
Right.
By the time these movies, these big saga movies drop, these Avengers movies
huge ones.
Man, let me know. I want to know what these people are going to say when they said all this stuff was kind of garbage. Oh, they're not going in. Okay.
All right.
And then they drop in and and
that's
they got
what we need to do.
These folks in there.
Like, you know what we need to do?
That first trailer when it actually drops in a couple years.
Do you know what we need to do before that trailer drops? Is we need to write these people's names.
Yeah,
and like I'm
being
serious.
You gotta reference these videos.
We need to start referencing these
YouTube videos.
We need to find these people's names, make sure, and then I'm gonna blow their stuff. I'll personally
hit them up,
make up a name, and just say, hey, I got some proof that this is what you were saying. What do you think now?
Yes. because I felt that way with Avengers. Triple felt that way. Quadruple trillion felt that way when Infinity War hit. Nah, Civil War hit, and it was like, okay, this is a game changer.
When I saw Civil War, I was like, so you can do all those people and it works.
So why can't Justice League get this right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if we get this here, come on, man.
Right. And that wasn't even an
that
Avengers
was the first
movie.
one. That was in a Captain America's movie, and they did all these characters in every again. They introduced Black Panther,
right?
Zima. Like we had this,
all of that.
I mean, dude, there was so much going on in that movie, and it never felt like it was too much.
You're right.
You know,
it never felt
like it was like
overwhelming. Yeah, it was never overwhelming.
It all fit. So and then we don't even have to talk about Infinity War at that point. Then it's like the game got blown up. Right. Like it wasn't even a game anymore. It's just scorched earth. It was done. And then they still came back and said, "No, we don't think it's done. We're gonna give you in game." And it's like, all right, man. Like, okay. So I think they're building to that now.
Right.
So in 2 years, in was it 2024?
I think they just don't recognize that it's coming through television shows now.
Right.
It's coming through the television shows. You have no idea. Like, and maybe it's not as big of a payoff as you think it is with something like, I don't know, the Eternals. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in the end,
I gotta watch it.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe,
I gotta watch it again too.
It's not a bad movie. It really isn't. But honestly, maybe they don't show up again. Now, I have heard rumors they are already starting for the sequel, and I'm like, yeah. I don't know how much I need more Eternals, but I
don't either. I need to know where. I do need to know where they fit. I do need to know where they fit.
And I think it would be something if they get in over their head with Kang or something like that, and these things show up. Not maybe not Kang. I think they can beat him, but whatever happens in the future, maybe something happens. I mean, shoot! At the end of the end of that movie. The Celestials came back, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And the whole world started shaking.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and again, I don't know what time period that is because you're just going to leave that wide open.
I guess they're going to have to. They don't give the year. They don't give the years for anything.
All right. So, anyway, it's just one of those things where these things are coming up, and I guarantee most of them are going to pay off, if not all of them. That's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, that is kind of disgusting. Oh, she did wear a dress in episode 4.
Right. When she picked up the date.
So she picked up the date.
Picking
that was the date.
That
was the date. Yeah.
And then this dude had no clue who she was.
Yeah, he's like, where's She-Hulk at?
She didn't change at all, I guess, during the whole process. But I thought he said she did revert back to herself in unconscious
when she goes
form,
to sleep. Right.
So she woke up before he did.
Must have, right.
He's like, yo, yeah, that's crazy wild. I don't know, man.
So he let everybody know.
Yeah.
He hit it as She-Hulk.
It was just weird. I mean, she's just goofy. Look at her. She's goofball. And that's fine. You know, she's a goofy character.
She's a nerdy typical lawyer.
There should be a contrast between the two. You know what I mean? She should be more confident as She-Hulk and then be Jennifer. And it's like,
but the crazy thing is, she's still Jennifer.
She's still Jennifer.
Right.
I think they're going to give you and I guess what you could say is that's why they're not separating the two. It's looking like they're separated right now. The way it's like, oh, she's She-Hulk, she's Jennifer Walters. The difference, I think what they're doing in the show is they're going to give her the confidence as Jennifer, as the Hulk, and vice versa.
Right.
So if she does get to a point where she wants to be the Hulk, it's not going to feel like she's negating that side of her. It's going to be, this is me. It's essentially what the Hulk is now, Smart Hulk.
Right.
Yeah, well,
she's just going to be fusing the two. You know what I mean?
They kind of touched on that because now, over the last 2 episodes, it's been more about her accepting the fact that she is She-Hulk.
Right.
And learning that she should embrace who she is. And so I could see, I mean, the way they're playing it out, especially after what happened in the courtroom, it may play out to where, like you said, she becomes this very confident, regular Jennifer, and that might be her in the courtroom, and then she's going to be her alter ego with She-Hulk is going to be her nightlife person,
Right.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she's going to kind of have
But
this
the
double
difference
life.
is that's what the difference between them is. So
Right,
I think that's what makes She-Hulk is she is Jennifer Walters every time. She just changes her appearance more than it's a different person. So it's one of those things
right.
where, like she said, I can control this. And because of that, that makes her Hulk different than the Hulk's Hulk.
Mhm.
Like I think that's one of the cool things about her is
Right.
she, like when he first saw that in the first episode, hey, you know, you mean there's no one else trying to steer the wheel there? No, it's just me. Like it's just me. And what's cool is if you go back and watch that scene, she gets mad and she's yelling, but she's just angry. It doesn't seem like she changes. And that's when he started doing like a horse to her and said,
Right.
when I saw that, it still makes me laugh. But it was like,
Yeah.
but honestly, that scene right there is like, hey, she's always been herself, and she will always like. So it's literally her decision on when she wants to change to a Hulk or where she doesn't want to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I think it'd be cool if they let it filter to where she lives that double life and play it that way.
Yeah,
Well, she's gonna have to be the Hulk already for her job, so she's gonna always be the Hulk during the day,
unless that dude gets fired. Her boss.
Her
the guy that
boss.
brought her on, yeah. That'd be funny because
Yeah.
he's a jerk.
Yeah, he is a jerk.
But they won't do that. Maybe they would. I don't know.
Wongers. That's what I want. I want a T-shirt with
It's 'cause
somebody just
Wong,
yelling out "Wongers."
maybe you had that portal open with the flame, and
Right,
you hear Wongers coming out of it.
right. I would cop a T-shirt that said that.
That's crazy. All right, man. I mean,
I think that was a good rap, right?
it's a good little rant.
Yeah, yeah.
Good little rant. I don't know. Joe want to talk
Do
about
it,
something else?
do it again in 5 more.
I don't know.
I mean, we can go
rapidy rap.
We can go musica. We can go sports. We can go anything.
Fantasy. What's going on with fantasy?
Yeah, that's not going good.
Okay, let's not go on fantasy. You're
I
right.
mean, we can talk about it, but it's not going.
Talk
I'm saying.
about fantasy all day.
I'm sure you want to talk fantasy, but
I don't want to necessarily talk fantasy. We'll see. I mean, what did I go? 1-3 last weekend in my leagues. 2. No, I went 2. Did I go 2-1? I did go 2-1, maybe. I think in. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing good. I think so far. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do
nothing. You just said you went 1-2.
2-1.
I went 2-2.
I'm only in 3 leagues, so I did. I won 2, lost 1.
I'm in 4. I went 2-2.
Jeez. I think it was 2-2, but I can't remember. I lost to Bernard, man. Which
barely, or did you get blown out?
No, it was barely, but it was only because you people didn't play well. But yeah, I had a squad to play him, and I had some people in there that I shouldn't have had in there and forgot to take them out. So that kind of fell apart, but I don't know. Who are y'all liking this week?
Who are we liking this week?
Hey, I got to tell y'all. So, I'm doing DraftKings too. This is my first time doing the DraftKings, baby.
I thought.
So wait, what are you talking about? It's your first time doing the DraftKings?
Well, I only did DraftKings when it's us. So I'm doing that.
Oh, you're going out there and trying to win the world.
Yeah.
Win big money.
Ah, man. You know what's so crazy, man? When you see that, dude, because I don't throw stuff out there. I played it this past Thursday or maybe Monday. But what's wild is that it's like, dog, I saw a dude go up from 27,000. He was at 27,000 by like, I don't know, 5 points. And then a second later, he's down to like $200.
Yeah, that's all.
Like, it's crazy. Seeing that change would piss me off. And I've seen it. I'm on it, but I don't get that much money. I think the most I saw for me, this even on that day was like, you're winning 200, and then it just dropped to zero. Or no, it went to like $1.75 and then zero. And it's like, that's the way it changes, dude. You think you're in the, hey man, if it just holds pat right now.
Do you remember when Floyd was like, he texted, oh no, he was out with us, I think. We were on the patio.
And he had that 50,000.
Yeah, he had something like 50 or 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
going like into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not gonna hold.
And literally midway through the fourth quarter, something happened, like a fumble or something. And this dude went down to like $5,000. And then something else happened, and the shit went to like down to like $400.
That's what I was
like, dude.
Dog, that
shit sucks.
If I had hair,
and it doesn't take much. It's literally It's literally a fumble.
It's not completing a dang pass.
It is an incomplete pass.
It's not hitting a guy like this past week, Monday. I picked the tight end for the Broncos. That dude had a pass that he caught.
He fumbled.
No, he caught it and he caught it in midair, landed on the one down, and then they kicked the field goal. So he didn't get the points. The next time,
but every person that had the kicker just jumped.
Right, and then the next time down the field when they were driving for that game-winning drive. No, it was actually before that. Actually, I kind of realized then at that point, Russell Wilson doesn't even know he's on the team. Because he was not even looking at him. Like, this dude had broke like 2 or 3 times wide open, and Russell didn't look at him one time. And I'm like, he don't even know you're on the team. And it sucks because you could have had a touchdown right there, but you was eyeing this dude over here. And it's like, bro, I know it's new to the team. I get it. You don't trust him, but dog, he didn't even look at him. And then especially the fact, and this is how I know, because he caught a ball that got him a first down. And if they didn't get that, they would have had to punt it. He caught it before the first down marker and then jumped to get the first down and he got it. Guess what happens the next play? He goes right to him. So that's how I know he recognized then, like, oh, okay, well, maybe this dude I can do it. That means you wasn't paying attention to that dude. You was going to everybody who you think you need to go at.
Right.
So that dude fought for a first down, got the first down, and then the next play, you throw at him again. And then after that, it was like, no, because that didn't complete. So it's like, he didn't drop it. It just, the play didn't work out where you threw it at him, but it didn't work out. You had a defender there. He didn't go back to him again. So it's like, man, that kind of pissed me off because that was the game I was looking at the dude that was up 27,000. And then he dropped down to like 4,000 or 400 or something like that. And I'm like, I was kind of on that cusp. I was in the mix where I was winning money, but it could have definitely flipped because he was my captain.
Right.
And if he would have got, let's say he would have got that touchdown, and I still had Russell Wilson as a player on my team.
That shit sucks.
You know what I mean? That'd have been crazy.
I was happy. I won 125, and I thought I did something.
Mm-hmm. But
that money is out there though,
like y'all be talking about. These people out here that be using these tools, man. There's somebody specifically that be doing it, taking everybody's money in our group.
The money is definitely out there.
I'm like, dog, and they spend a lot of money. You have to put a lot of money out there to win that
and even
too,
still, the ones that are winning like $1,000. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't know how many people are out there winning $50,000. Like,
I mean, they're playing the big ones. I mean, it's numbers. It's a numbers game. You got to be doing a lot of lineups. Right. Man. You put a lot of money
lineups and win $3-4 grand.
Do they limit you on how many lineups you put in?
You put in 3.
You can only put in 3. So they're getting numbers and they're putting in lineups. And you can tell almost by some of them that are like groups of people doing it because you can tell by the avatar that they got like the logo for whatever their group is, and then you look in another you go to another game and you see that same logo, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's a group. That's not like some people will do it. Like, yeah, I've definitely seen some trademark logos that are like in there, and I'm like, okay, so that's a group of people doing it. That's a little whatever.
But I like the showdowns, man.
The showdowns, I like the showdowns more than anything else, man.
I love the showdowns because
the showdowns for me is where it's at.
All you got to do is pick between two teams instead of a whole bunch of players.
Well, we're doing a what is it? Last man standing.
Oh, yeah.
You pick,
and with Amy,
like
you pick a team. Yeah. Pick a team and then play it out. And I got to get my pick in before tomorrow too, before noon.
Do you know who you want to pick?
I do not. I need to look at the games and match it out.
Well,
and say,
do you want some advice from me and Black Dracarys?
Oh, sure.
Well, let's pull up the schedule right quick.
Yeah,
I told him to play some soft jazz, but he doesn't have it. Oh, hey, all right, I'll take the vibes. Hey. Oh, body. I got you out here. All right. Hey, oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's it right there.
I found this dude on Instagram. Nice.
So that means that we can legally play this.
Oh, we can play. Oh, yeah, we can play this right now for sure. If they catch it, it'll strip this whole thing from YouTube anyway. But it's all good, man. I think he's cool. He wants his music to be played.
Right.
Okay. Just making sure. I didn't know whether this is.
It's Jan Hunter Jr.
Let's give him a shout out. That's all right. I'm okay with this. Jan Hunter, this sounds dope, man. For real.
This has been my earworm. Just off what you're saying on the song.
Yeah.
This one, there's one other joint that's been my earworms. Like,
I can definitely feel it.
I like that tag too. That's Hunter.
Yeah. Interesting. So do you think we have harder games this week or last week?
You got to run down. Let me know.
Well, we got kind of a better idea this week.
You would think so, right?
Come on, man.
You would think so. You would think so.
You don't have.
So the first game I'm going to call out for you is the Panthers at the Giants.
Oh, that's a toss-up,
is that
bro.
An easy? Is that an easy call to make?
Easy call. That's not an easy call.
Because it's 1 week later. What do you think, Doug? 1 week later, this is an easy call.
For a last man standing, no, it's not.
Right, I wouldn't touch that game either.
But I think the Giants are gonna win.
Dang, you called that pretty quick for somebody to say it was tough.
I do think the Giants are gonna win, but it's gonna be close.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
It was a miracle that they should have lost last week. A field goal got missed. I was like, yo, that should have got made. Like,
I don't know.
I think
still don't know if I trust Baker Mayfield. Like,
he's not good. You're right.
He's
definitely not good.
I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
Dog,
Let's get
stop.
that straight. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. He is. I told you this a while ago.
He's bad.
I think when I said this when he first came to Cleveland, I think at his best, he's going to be Tyrod Taylor. And it's crazy that he took Tyrod Taylor's job.
I don't think he did take his job. I think they wanted Baker Mayfield to be quarterback no matter what.
Oh, yeah, of course they wanted him to be quarterback, or at least try to work him out to be quarterback. Tyrod has been around. They not going like him.
When Tyrod was in Buffalo, Tyrod took him to the playoffs.
Yeah,
took y'all too.
They won.
Took y'all
they
too.
Won.
Took y'all
they
too.
Won. They won in the playoffs.
Yep.
So last time we really seen Tyrod play, he was in the playoffs.
What year was that? Because I'm trying to think. So they got in as a wild card.
It was right before.
I'll figure that. Tyrod.
Yeah, I don't. There to me is not easy to pick because I feel like the Giants could have lost last week. They had to come back. Barkley looked nice.
Yeah. So did Carolina, by the way.
Yeah, Carolina.
They had to come back.
Right. And but also on top of that, you got Baker in his mind. He's playing his old team. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was at home in Carolina, it's like you think he would have played at the biggest moment in that situation. You would have played your best game probably ever because you're playing your ex team. You want to show them. But we also seen another quarterback.
Man, I don't think they played that well. It's just Robbie Anderson had the one play, and that's all it really was for Carolina.
Baker didn't look good. That's all I know. And it feels like they also got away from CMC carrying the ball. Like
I agree.
It felt like they did a lot more of trying to showcase Baker than giving it to CMC and do his thing, man.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that just seemed kind of weird. I was like, not weird. I get it because they're just going to be doing it, but he's your bread and butter. That's your dude. As long as he stays healthy, the offense should be rolling with him first, man. And it's not just running. Throw him some screens. Get him out there on the slot. Let him do everything, man. He can do all that, right? Like, you don't need to even just say you got to run through the tackles. Like, you don't got to do that. But he can do a lot. But it just felt like they didn't really.
But if you know going in next year with all the quarterbacks in the draft, you're going to be drafting the quarterback. All you need Baker to be tradable. So you can move up.
What are you trading him to get?
What, Doug?
Like, what are you trading?
Think about what you're saying. You're trading
Who
Baker.
Is Carolina going to get? Do they not want Baker Mayfield? Is that what you're saying?
Even if they wanted for trade bait, who?
He's not their long-term answer.
So
but if he showcases well,
but there's no one giving.
They don't have one,
right?
So you're saying
why wouldn't they keep Baker?
Because the draft is going to be draft heavy next year.
Well, I know two quarterbacks.
So exactly. And I don't know if both of them are going to be better than Baker when they first come in the league.
It might be. Well, one might be a Tua, one might be a Hurts, one might be a Justin Fields.
Dude, you got like 6 quality quarterbacks coming out next year.
Okay.
On the phone.
There are better quarterbacks coming out this year than there were last year. I'll agree with that.
But
who's going to give what Baker's trying to get?
What do they want? Picks? Or are they actually looking for someone
That's another thing too. Is Carolina trying to win right now?
I don't know if they believe they have the team.
You think Baker's going to take them to somewhere? Well, then if you think that's the case, then they shouldn't. Which would more be a reason why I would pick the Giants in this game.
If that's the case, you need to go ahead and start looking at trading Christian.
Right, of course.
You
should have done that 2 years ago.
Yeah, they should have probably been. But they got a new coach. They got Rule.
But they paid him.
Right. Again,
so
I ask you, is Rule trying to win for his job, or are they trying to lose?
Well, if he's trying to lose, he's not going to have a job. So for him, he's trying to win.
He's trying to win.
Organization
they're trying to win. Correct.
Or no, not
so they are not going to get no good. They're not getting a quarterback. They are rolling with Baker.
The organization is trying to lose.
Yes, the organization is trying to lose. But again, if the idea behind the scenes is the organization wants to lose, that's not good for Matt Rule.
Rule is a lame duck.
Get all the
coach.
blame. Yeah, he's going to be out of there.
It's literally that means that you hired him just to fire him in a few years.
Well, they hired him hoping, and then
he should have never got hired anyway.
Yeah, he probably should never got hired.
He should have never been the coach anyway.
I mean, they didn't have any.
So my point, Let's start all over.
Giants are going to win that game.
All right, so Giants going to win that game.
So
see if they carry
momentum. I'm going to keep coming at you first, Doug, because you're the one that said it's an extra week. We should know what these teams are.
I feel like third week, right?
Colts at Jaguars.
Colts.
I agree.
It's going to be a closer game than people think, but I'm taking Colts. I think the Colts will win by 10.
If they don't, they'd have no pride from that game. They just knocked them out of the playoffs. If they don't win this game, man,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't believe in the Colts at all.
You can't have that.
But I think Matt Ryan's going to help them win that game.
Well, and that's the thing, because he had them in position last week to win the game.
No, I'm talking about last year.
Oh, okay.
Remember at the end of the year, the Jaguars knocked the Colts out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have to believe that the Colts are going to win that game.
That wouldn't be a bad game to pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that game.
No. Yeah, see, really? Some of these, I'm just not touching.
I wouldn't. Patriots at Steelers.
I wouldn't touch that game.
I wouldn't touch that game. That's what I'm saying. These
you
are
don't
tough
know yet.
calls.
Yeah,
you don't know anything
yet.
These
are so 50-50s.
I think the Browns can beat the Jets. The Jets are playing at Cleveland.
The Browns can beat the Jets.
The Browns, I could put it
on. Dude.
And you're gonna give me that Flacco crap.
I don't care about Flacco.
Well, you better, because if he don't play well, they're not gonna win.
The Jets got a defense too, though.
The Jets have
so does Cleveland.
Right. That's offset.
So it comes down to the offense. Who makes a mistake.
Right.
Kobe
because
Brissett
I think Brissett can get away. Flacco's going to get sacked a lot.
I think Flacco's going to prove something this week. He has to.
Well, he's going to get sacked a lot.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing, but I think the way he played last week.
3.
The way he played last week, I think Flacco has it in him to come out and have a good game.
What does a good game mean?
And before you go too far, they lost last week. Do you know who they played last week?
Yeah, they lost last week. Did you
know who they played last week?
Did you see Flacco's face? They played Baltimore.
Yeah, and they got
hold on. This is why I said the Jets have a defense. They had a defense last year. They proved their defense even a little bit more against Baltimore.
That game was late heavy, right? Because it wasn't in the beginning of the game. It wasn't like that. Like the Ravens had troubles early on, right?
Ravens always have trouble scoring.
And then they started getting their stuff together later in the game.
Ravens always have trouble
scoring. Baltimore should have been in the 40s.
Baltimore doesn't have
the Jets have a decent defense, man.
I'm not saying that they don't. They're not going to beat the Browns. That's all I'm saying.
They have a decent defense, but
the Browns do too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those are offsetting penalties right there.
Right.
To me, decent defenses. Now it's just going to come down to who has better offensive talent to be able
to. And the Jets have good offensive talent. I will agree with that. I just don't think they. I mean,
they got good wide receivers. They got some decent wide receivers. They got a decent running back. You can't put Hall over Chubb's like he's gonna run through. That's heavy. That's big time,
that's why
right?
Cleveland's gonna win.
Now Cooper can feel like he got disrespected because a lot of people after last week didn't step up.
Cares about that because that dude
Cooper has to step up.
I think he's never mind.
He's in Cleveland, dude, and he don't have the quarterback throwing team we thought it was.
I think Amari Cooper is good. I just think that he needs to step up in bigger moments.
That's what I'm saying. So this is a big game for him to have to show out too. Yeah, dude, come on, man.
So you really so you take the Jets in that one. Is that what you were saying, Doug? I'm sorry.
No. But going back,
you think the Jets are going to beat the Browns? Is what you were saying?
No, but going back to this Amari Cooper thing.
Mm-hmm.
People act like he don't have the drive in big moments. It's not that. This dude is double teamed. Certain teams they double team him all game.
Right.
It's this whole he disappears. He disappears. He doesn't disappear. If you're double team all game and you got a quarterback like Dak, who Dak will focus in on one or two. Hold on, Dak will focus in on one or two receivers all game long. He won't see nobody else. If he knows it's Amari's double covered over here before the play even starts, he don't even look his way. And it's been that way. When he was in Oakland had nobody else but Amari. So teams that play man to man.
In Dallas, it happened more than once that there were crucial games and he was on the sidelines. Why was that? I believe that happened more than once.
Now,
was he hurt?
I will say
was
he was mad about those moments. And I do know that he was really vocal about them changing and doing things a little more than just the regular, slants.
It's easy.
Basic routes.
He's easy. He's the easy one to point the finger at. He's very easy. Because
that's what wide receivers are.
Nah, he's not, because he's never been that up until this point. Right. It took playing with Dallas and Dak for him to have to say something. He never he played with Derek Carr out in Oakland, man.
Right.
That offense was not that great, even though they were supposed to be really good.
No.
He did drop balls because I had him in fantasy when he was out there and he didn't catch.
Yeah.
He had about a year. He had a bad year out there this last year before they traded him.
But the dude still had 1,200 yards.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, but again, that's the same. That's to what Magnus is talking about. Is you can have 1,200 yards, but when I know that in moments in games that you drop balls to win games that mattered, 1,200 yards don't really mean anything because now we know where those 1,200 yards were. There's garbage time. The game was already over. Y'all were getting beat. You got yards, cool. But when we needed you to get that catch or these yards to get a first down, the ball was dropped. I'm not saying he's a bad one. I think he's just not flashy. He's not loud. The only time we've ever heard about him talking was last year in December when he felt that they weren't doing much on offense.
Black Kirk Cousins.
I do believe that's a thing. Man.
I mean,
they got rid of him quick, man.
Said that's what he said. That's what he said in the locker room.
I believe dude. And he already was talking about how they don't run anything.
A few days later, he was removed from the team.
Like, come on, man.
Hey, and they got rid of him for a fifth round pick.
They didn't even try to see.
They didn't try to get a second.
They didn't try to wait.
Y'all got him. They just said you guys had to give up a 1 to get him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
They gave up a 1.
And y'all got
a
fifth round pick.
And if they kept him, they would have had to pay him, I think, 20 or something like that.
Right.
This season.
20 million versus everybody else.
Right.
He is a bargain.
That's a bargain now because we see what our offense looks like.
Right. It's definitely a bargain.
It was a bargain
out here.
And look, all these people signing these big ass contracts too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guarantee they wish they would have went ahead and kept that dude now. Because CD out here, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not a 1. But he may not be ready for it right now.
I'm not even gonna lie about it, brother. I'm not saying he's not good. I agree with the first part.
Yeah.
But I am saying he's not a 1.
I mean, if we're gonna sit here talk about Amari,
I don't think he has. I don't think he wants to do
more
that.
passes than Amari.
I don't think he wants to do that. Like, I think he's an awesome 2. I think he'd be an awesome 2.
He was an awesome 2,
right?
But even then, he dropped passes.
He's not a 1. I know that.
He's not a 1.
He is not a 1.
And I don't know if it's because he doesn't.
And maybe he doesn't want to do that.
Well, see, I don't think it's that. I think it's just more of. Be honest with you, I think he just needs a little more maturing.
Yeah. Okay.
As a receiver,
I'm okay with that.
And I think because he's a Dallas Cowboy,
and if that's the
case,
he
wears 88,
right
they're
now,
forcing him to be more than what he needs.
They showed it on the commercial.
Yeah, he's
with all the 88s,
yeah.
And he even came like, man, I didn't want to wear it.
He said, I want to forge my own way. They forced
Irv, I really need you to wear that 88. Okay, and when as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's kind of awkward. They shouldn't even put that in there.
Yeah, they said it from the beginning.
Like he didn't want to wear it.
Yeah, they shouldn't have put it in there because nothing about him is Des Bryant or Michael Irvin.
Right. That's not his personality.
And first of all, Drew Pearson, Michael Irvin, Des Bryant, those are big receivers.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are big dudes, man. Even if they don't get open, they can get open.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that was Michael's MO for a long time.
Yeah.
Is, hey man, if I put my hand up, throw me the ball. Like I'm open.
That's that. Like, okay, that's a good. Not that we're
Isn't
switching
that
everything,
crazy?
but that's a good. That's why I say we don't really do the. You know how we do it in NBA where we talk about errors and put this person here and do that. It's like, man, how much more faster are people in the NFL now than they ever were back in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s? And if it's like so dramatically different, like they were running like, oh, dude, they were running 740s back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much faster are they now? It's like, dude, they have recorded times. It wasn't like everybody now is blowing out everybody back then.
Right.
So when you look at the jerseys and you look at how they wore their equipment and you look at the way the film looks gritty, you think Michael Irvin wasn't an athlete.
Right.
No, you think
right.
that he couldn't catch, or Drew Pearson wasn't, right?
And what's crazy is their equipment was a whole lot heavier.
Heavier.
Back then than it is now.
Heavier,
it
bulkier,
bulky,
wasn't light,
right.
and they still had to do what they did to fit within that.
Right.
See, that's the thing, they don't talk about that type of stuff.
They don't.
They don't add that in. It's like saying, like, dude, I'm playing with like an extra like 2 pounds, 3 pounds of weight on me almost, because I got these heavy dang shoulder pads, leg pads, hip pads. Back in the day, Drew Pearson played with every type of pad possible, man.
Right.
Back when, you know, you had hip pads, you had thighs and like ankle pads, you had every pad, right? And
so think about how fast Jerry Rice was in all that equipment.
Right.
Exactly.
Could you put him in the equipment of today?
Dude,
Man,
it would almost feel like they're playing naked. They would just be out there like, I could cut so much easier.
Yeah, because you didn't play your whole life with all this weight on you.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, like, takes this weight off. It's like, oh shit, you didn't release me.
Right. And they don't have to be, they can't be held.
That's why
no one's going to be holding them.
That's what I always say about
no hand checks, none of that.
NBA comparisons. I always say that, like, old school players are always going to say it doesn't matter what era, because we're really going to beat you up there and we're really going to beat you back here.
Right.
Because back here we can put our hands on you, and up there you can't touch us.
Right.
And we've played with people touching us.
Right.
So it's literally kind of like, it doesn't matter. You're damned up here and you're damned back here as well. So it's crazy when you compare eras. Yeah, people can shoot up here, and we can play up there because we can play with more pressure on us and more pushing, more hand checks. And now you have to give me space. Why can't I shoot better?
Right.
Why can't I juice you up a little with a crossover?
You just said it. I think that's funny because, to be honest with you, I don't think we give credit to the talent that was back there to the point to where it's like they act like, well, nobody was doing that. It's like, yeah, they didn't have space to do it.
No.
So that doesn't mean that the guys couldn't do it.
Right.
You might have had way better shooters back then if they had the space and the ability to not get touched. Now you might have guys that could shoot a lot more than what these guys can shoot now.
How many more threes do you think Allen Iverson would hit if he was doing James Harden stuff, like step back?
If Reggie Miller had space, he's doing that, and they were cutting through, pushing dudes through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's wild, man. It's weird. It's different eras. It's different eras. It's different times.
It's like, and that's why it's like
these guys are running around with bricks on their shoulder pads,
dude,
running 4.240s. Like when did Deion come out? He was running 4.2.
Yes,
in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Its speed wasn't not a thing.
Yeah, like these cats were still fast.
Right. They're still running.
Right.
You think about all these guys back then, it's like, dog, I know. I bet Deion looks at this, and he's been said it.
Right.
He came back as Leon Sandcastle. So it's like, we know if this dude could come back right now and he was him back in the 80s, bro. Do you understand how easy this would look at and be like,
he'd kill.
Oh.
He killed.
Because he wasn't really known as a super physical guy either. It wasn't like he was, you know what I'm saying? There were other corners that have been physical corners.
Kill on both sides of the ball.
Deion was on tackle.
Deion would kill right now.
Deion used to run away from a tackle, boy.
Oh yeah. But this, I mean, how many picks Trayvon Diggs had last year, dog? Dion would have
Right.
doubled that shit. Like, but baiting folks, that's my game.
I mean, we were talking about that. Is that Dion shut down a side of the field?
Yeah.
Like he shut down a side of the field. You didn't want to throw it to him.
You didn't even try the side.
And part
You
of the
tried to make it
problem,
work on the other side.
Right.
it was like people forgot. Dion had catch up speed. So
Right.
you can be 5 yards ahead of Dion. And once that ball's in the air, he has a different gear.
Right.
Mhm.
He's gone.
Off the line, he doesn't have that quick takeoff like a lot of good dudes do. It's that catch up speed, man.
Almost
And
like he prided himself in having that too.
Right.
Like I mean, it's physical. You're birthed with that, right? So
right.
with him too, it would be like his nature of how he played the position.
And the crazy thing is he always plays close. He'd always play
he'd
close.
always play close.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, okay, I can play up here because if you shake me, I can catch you. But most of the time, I'm going to keep up with your speed. So if you take off, I'm taking off.
Right. And it almost was like he would bait them into throwing that way. Like,
Right.
I'm going to let you kind of get a little bit. And you could almost see the gear
I want you to
running
beat
in
me.
his mind. Like,
I want you to beat me and I'm going to lag back.
I'm a lag back and let you think you got it. And then the second he's like, oh, gotcha.
There it is.
And then it's like,
it
gotcha. Boom. Take that junk back.
Right.
INT. We done.
Over.
That's just the way he played, man. If he played now, dude,
he'd clean up, dog.
It'd be dumb. Again, technique in NFL football right now is wild, dog. Hear there's a Bengals player that Jamar Chase said it about Diggs. He was like, he said he's good, but he's not technique sound.
Oh wow.
He bites
he did say that.
fakes or whatever. I mean, that's bulletin board material.
I mean,
to see what you can do.
Here's the deal. Trayvon's been in the league for how long?
2 years.
2 years.
3 years.
3 years.
This
No,
year's three. This year's.
Was last
was
year
his
a
first
rookie?
year. Yeah, he was a rookie last year.
Yeah,
So second year.
So
But,
they both came in at the same time, is what I'm saying.
But Jamar Chase can kind of say that.
That's my thing. Is I wouldn't mind they're saying it. Is they're the same generation in the NFL.
And part of why he said it is because, and everybody talks about it, even outside of the Bengals, his detail to his route running, they say is up there with anybody. Like he is very detailed.
Yeah, but if Trayvon Diggs had been in the league for about 4 or 5 years, I would say that was disrespectful to call him out.
True.
I'm just saying, like, if I was Trayvon Diggs and I'd been in the league longer, like I feel coming in at the same time, you're my counterpart. Yeah, we're gonna battle then. Yeah, you know. But if I've been in the league for a while and you try to call out some of my imperfections, worry about you, little man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way I would have taken it if I was. I
feel like he could still take a disrespect because they're on the same, because they're counterparts, right? Because they're the same time in the league.
Has he said anything? Trayvon?
No, I haven't heard nothing about Trayvon saying nothing. But either way, it's like Trayvon's probably like, look, Trayvon goes for the home run. He goes for the picks.
He definitely does.
Now, whether he gets bit all the time or whether he bites all the time on double moves or any of that, some of the stuff I don't think it's all his fault because they've kind of fried him on plays later in the year last year when it was the safety wasn't there and he thought he had safety help. So if you think you got safety help, you can kind of play a little with going for a pick instead of playing the player and trying to go for a tackle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To prevent run after catch kind of stuff. But other times I'm like, I kind of like the ball hockey. I kind of like that you want to go after that. Now, I don't like it if you can't make a decision of when it's there and you know I'm the last line of defense. I'm gonna go for this ball and not prevent this dude from scoring.
You better get it.
Yeah, you gonna get it, or I'd still say to go tackle. That's a decision. Right. But if you know you can play with that, because there's too many dang corners out here that don't. Dude, college. I mean, Ohio State. Our corners are garbage. We have guys that just technique in the game. They don't go after the ball. They don't look at the ball. They don't look to go make plays. I don't really know what their technique is. Somebody was, I think Bernard or maybe Daryl was saying about they look at their hands when their hands go up. Dude, but if you're looking at their hands when they're coming up, that's too late to me.
Yeah, that's not good.
I feel like if you watching their hands, that's way too late, man. Like you need to be looking. There should be an instinct in you to be able to look back at the quarterback, and you judge when. There is a point in time where we've run this route this long, dude. If the ball's not out by this time, either you're waiting for something to develop,
backpedal with the dude,
right?
When he gets to you, you run with him, and when you get, or if he, when he starts kind of digging, like you can tell.
Yeah, when it's about to happen.
If he catches where I am, maybe I look immediately. Like, oh, is somebody looking over here? Maybe not. Then I'm catching you. Like, then we're running.
Yeah.
And if he starts turning around, I'm turning around too.
Right, exactly.
Like, so it's one of those things where you gotta at least recognize he's taking off.
You gotta know.
Yeah, it happens.
That point to say,
and when to turn around.
Right.
I see too many times in NFL, like, dude, they're gonna throw the flag every single time. You got to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it all the time. DBs will just run with them and be like,
Dude, we had a DB last week that literally launched himself in the air to block the ball because he was late on it. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And come to find out, he was converted from a wide receiver to be that. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that you would do something stupid like that. But a lot of guys right now in the league just don't have that instinct that some of those cornerbacks, and obviously, especially Dion,
right,
to where they're able to play off what they see and be able to balance the two. Because now it feels like they are one dimensional, where they tell them, look at the receiver, do this. It's like, so you're telling me there's no possibility at all to be able to do the both thing, to know when the quarterback is going to be throwing the ball. If you know the quarterback, how fast they can throw the ball, how long they get it out, who are you going against?
Yeah, where are you running down the field? You're 30 yards down the field.
You think this dude going to be able to throw the ball? You think Cooper Rush is going to be able to throw the ball to anybody in a certain amount of time where you're like, you got to be scared? No. Your guys are probably going to get in there before anything happens up front.
Right.
So you ain't got to worry about it. If it's coming out, and that coming out very fast.
Right. If he has
that's incomplete
time,
anyway.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they said they don't teach technique anymore in college.
Is it just talent? Is it just athletic ability?
It's talent, athletic ability, and it's what you think they're going to be now. They said all NFL scouts, and when they're at the combine, because it was an article on, I can't remember the sports writer that did the article, but it was a big write-up, and it was like a month ago, and they talked about that when they talk to these NFL executives, they all say the same thing now. And even the coaches we have to basically teach them how to play football. That they're not learning how to play football in college, which is what is supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. They said, so when you have a lot of these players, people are like, well, you drafted him number 1, but he sat for 2 years. Well, because we had to teach him how to play.
Mm-hmm. Is that position-based?
Yeah.
Because, quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers is one of the big ones, the most recent, and that's a long career. He's almost 40. So it's like a long, like that goes to show how long it's been since somebody has sat that long and been a starter and held that starting position.
They were talking about DBs. It was specific. They were DBs, linemen, and linebackers were the 3 that really stood out, because they were talking about the linemen with their footwork and their hands, mm-hmm. and how they said basically you got to break their habits and start all over again.
Mm-hmm. I can see that especially with linemen, for sure, because you're dealing with crazy athleticism
on the defensive side. Correct. That's
them getting you, but
you need extensive training for that.
They had in history. They've had some really great defensive linemen that are Reggie White,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Probably what they say. LT is like the greatest defensive player in the front
Of all
that's ever
time.
of all time. So you know what I'm saying, and like your boy Aaron Donald's gonna be one of them guys that's already up there. Like,
Right.
but again,
But
it's
it
like
was a lot of guys though that
in
nobody really
history.
talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like when Javon Curse first hit the league.
The freak.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a freak. He was a
he
freak.
was.
The fact
He
that he
was a
was
freak.
Javon Curse.
the height and the speed and the strength, the
Yeah.
versatility that you could drop back in coverage and then still get and go inside, play the edge, play inside, be a
Hmm.
linebacker. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things. I mean, that was kind of like a hybrid, the
Yeah.
first hybrid of a
Yeah.
lineman and a linebacker and an edge player to be able to do almost all those and move them around. And
Yeah,
now
he
we
was a
have somebody
freak.
like
He was a
Micah
freak.
Parsons. You got somebody like Micah Parsons now, which is similar to what that's the way they were looking at Javon Curse like that back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And then who was it that played for? He got drafted by North Carolina. Ended up playing for Green Bay for a while. Then went back to North Carolina.
Oh, the Panthers. He's thinking about oh boy. Yeah.
Light skinned dude.
Peppers.
Peppers. George Peppers.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like he was like Curse too. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he played basketball.
So I mean, again, this is kind of like where the game was because EA and the NCAA, when we played the or the dynasty, you could go recruit players, and if you wanted to, they just had athletes.
Right. 88.
Yeah.
It's just athlete, and then you could just play them wherever, and then find out where they could fit. So
Right.
that's something that they were looking at back then. That's
I
clearly
think
that's
that's
how they were
still
looking
cool.
at it.
Right.
Is that you just go, you can
You would
find
slide through
specific
all the
players.
different
Yeah, you get players that were in position already
positions.
before if you wanted to recruit them.
Right.
If they were in this position, or you could just go to
Right.
athlete. Now, there was something about that was odd. Is that either when you recruited them, if you pick the right position, they'd have like better stats.
Right.
But
So if you picked a position that you wanted to play him in, but it wasn't a position they thought he'd be good at,
like he could be really fast, but then you could get a guy that has
he
nice
couldn't
speed.
catch the ball.
Yeah, he couldn't catch the ball. He's an athlete.
Right.
So then
you could scroll through. You say, "Oh, well, running back. Well, he's fast, but he can't hang on to the ball for fumbles."
Right.
And then I pick like defensive back, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this works." And I'm like, "Okay, but I have 5 defensive backs, so I don't need this dude."
But I mean, that's kind of part of the process,
right?
But it sounds like that's kind of where they're at now in the college game. Is that it's just like
they're picking
a
athletes,
lot of athletes,
Right.
and again, positionless. Not so much as like the NBA, but it's just still like kind of one of those
it's
things.
Same thing though.
Although you don't see a lot of two-way players anymore. You know,
No.
I mean, that was kind of like a really tricky
Never.
thing. Like back in the day, it was like you could have guys that played offense and defense. I'm trying to think who we had at Ohio State that the last player that we had that literally played both sides. It was a cornerback, and he would come in and play a wide receiver at times.
Oh, Charles Woodson. Yeah, that's dope.
It was back in like
Charles
mid 2000s.
But
you don't
Charles
see a
Woodson,
lot of that now. You don't see a lot of that now, which I don't really know why they're worried about him getting hurt, even though the you could say that the medical aspect of it is better, and we're more intelligent in knowing how the body works and being able to medicate it and be able to what do they call it? Prehab is what
Yeah, but players are a lot more understanding the process now, the draft process, and all of that. So a lot of players, I think it's more difficult to get players to play two-way now.
Well, you got somebody like Micah Parsons out here with his speed and his ability to switch it up.
What would he play on offense?
Oh, he definitely would be in the back. I would say you could throw him out there as a tight end, but you wouldn't have him in the line. He'd be spread. So you get a linebacker on him for sure, and then say, okay, y'all do that, or I do something like throw some weird pistol stuff or something that's going to have me two backs in
where
the
people
backfield.
hesitate.
Yeah, give
So
me
does
options.
that make him a gadget player?
Well, when you say
Well,
gadget player, I
not
just feel like
really.
that's like, I don't know about. I mean, when you say gadget player, were you meaning that's a bad thing?
Yeah, because they get labeled as that.
Yeah, but
See, that's
he
yeah.
still plays defense.
Yeah, you're not trying to find a fit. He
Like,
has a fit.
It's not
His
like
defense is nice.
it's
No,
not
I
like
understand. But I'm
Taysom
saying
Hill's
if he
not
was a
great
two-way
quarterback,
player,
but he's not the best running
you don't know
back
what to do with
either,
Taysom
so you
Hill.
don't know where to
Right,
put him.
that's a gadget player because
Like,
you don't really know what to
right.
do with him. I
right?
think you
So
have
if
extreme. Go ahead.
but if you're a NFL team and let's take Michael Parsons, like I said, let's say he's in his position and then he's also the tight end.
Right.
What are you drafting him as?
What
Because
did
how
he did he get drafted as?
because how you draft him is also how you pay him.
That's right. Yeah, but he's on your team. You're not really worried about the pay at this point, right? Like we don't really care about what you pay him right now, right?
Well, you might want him to be one position and he doesn't want to be that position.
Right, but I think you're looking at what best fits your team and what he can give your team. So if your team, if you signed Deion Sanders to a big A contract back in the day, and then you still found plays for him on the offense. Not only was he playing offense, he was your return guy too on punts and kickoffs. So you were able to find a guy that plays a defensive position. You were able to put him in the slot. You were able to use him on the return game. And so it's not, and that was a big contract. He wouldn't have signed if he didn't get paid. He got paid, showing the money. Right. So the money from that standpoint don't matter at that joint. He's on your squad. Micah can give you any kind of like leverage when it comes to a game every week. And if you put him in 2-3 times within the game in certain positions, situations, I'd say I'd use him more on a red zone situations just to give a look. If it's not red zone, it'd be midfield, or where it's like now I can stretch it and like have somebody hesitate to get it over deep if I want to go over the top. But I don't know why money would come in and dictate whether we're going to use them that way or not, or draft position.
It's just like Debo. Okay, take Debo. Debo wants to be paid as a wide receiver,
That's
but San Francisco wants
to
pay him as a running back.
That's personal. That's something different because I feel like for him, he just doesn't want to get put into a situation where he's getting less money. That's fine. I get it. He doesn't want it, but the team wants to use him that way. I think he did because he wasn't he holding out?
Mm-hmm. Right. So, he got paid as a wide receiver.
Right. And he should get paid as a wide receiver. That's what they drafted him as, right? Mm-hmm. They just started using him as a multi-tool utility player. And that is out of necessity because people got hurt, not because they wanted to do that. That just was what happened and the way their season went. But I mean, I get it. I get it from the player standpoint. You may not want to be paid as that. But again, the way we're talking about it with Micah won't get paid any less because he's playing on the offensive side when he is like a possible defensive player of the year on the defense.
Well, no, I understand that. That. But I'm talking from the standpoint of he's coming out of college into the NFL, not him already being in the NFL. If he's in college,
yes,
and he's playing both ways, one, what's the college labeling him as? Is he their tight end or is he their linebacker? That's one.
Linebacker.
I mean, I guess it would matter. Yeah, I think it would have to be.
No, it would matter.
What are you playing more snaps at? What are you playing more snaps? You're not playing him 50-50.
Right. But then his draft position, depending upon what he is, will be determined by his position. Because you're not going to draft a tight end in the first round. You might draft him as a linebacker in the first round.
Figure that out, though. I think he could talk to the right people to see in 2 years when you want to leave what teams are going to be looking for. I think that can be called on.
Well, I
or
guess
hey, the year before he leaves, something like that, where hey, here's the draft order. We know what that's going to be, and a lot of teams are going to be looking for linebackers. Well, I'm going to come out as a linebacker. I'm not going to come out
so
as a
now
tight end.
You're gonna go to your coach and tell your coach, I'm not playing tight end anymore.
No, but the point is, he is a linebacker.
Right. I think what you're saying, Doug, is that we're somehow, again, I think we're going back to the Taysom Hill situation in college instead of pros. Right. Because if you are a linebacker, you're a linebacker, and they know it, meaning you are a world beater at the linebacking position. We just know that you're so athletic and you have so many different tools in your bag that we can use you over here. But there's no way we're going to say we will 100% use you here. That's why I was asking about the snaps, because there's no way you're taking more snaps as a tight end if you're a all-time elite linebacker. They're not going to pull you from that to say
what did we recruit 100%.
You for? Yeah, you're not going to be taking more snaps there. They recruited you as a linebacker, and unless you are like getting 200-300 yards at tight end, 2 to 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, and it's easy that you're going to be switching to where we're never going to use you on the defensive side because we were really worried about you exerting too much energy on the offensive side.
Right. So no, I'm with you.
That's not going to happen. But in this situation with somebody like a Micah, I feel like the way he plays, and again, he's young, and you use what you can get out of him, man. He ain't gonna be what he is in 2-3 years right now. Right. Athletically, he's just not. So because of that, if he can possibly give you something on the offensive side, and this is not really a question. I'm just saying we're hypothetically talking about him.
We're hypothetical.
Is that if he could give you something as a little wrinkle to just be out there, considering we don't have no offensive threats really, unless some of these guys start stepping up. It's week 2, man. We need to see some of these guys stepping up. I need to see CD be the number one. I need to see Tony Pollard out here on this slot that they were talking about. Ain't been doing nothing.
I've been waiting on it.
I need to see
why
double.
Why didn't they use him?
I don't know why. I don't understand why they keep doing the Zeke thing, and that's money. But it's like, what's ridiculous about it is that it's like it's Zeke wasn't horrible last week, but I saw Saquon Barkley finally healthy out here.
He looked good,
130 something.
That's another reason why I would have picked the Giants in that game earlier.
But they nice.
They went away from the run after the first part of the second quarter. They just stopped running the ball.
Yeah, they've been doing that. They kind of went away from that last year in the game too against the Bucks, which they're worried about their fronts. They're worried about their D line. Oh, you can't run it through. And I'm like, dude, that's the whole point, though. That's the whole point why you have a change-up back situation. The whole reason why you can use Zeke as a bruiser. Now, your offensive line is the real problem because you can't really push. You can't put them on their heels. You're on your heels. So
that's why you run the screen.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think there's a reason.
And you got Tony Pollard as a switch up to be a screen guy.
There's no reason why they both can't be in a game at the same time.
I don't understand why.
I've not seen that.
They did it one time.
I'm not sure why they don't just put. I mean, if you have no line, why don't you put Tony Pollard out there catching passes?
That's what they
put
said.
This
all
dude in
off
space.
Season.
They've been
all
said
off season, all camp was like, oh, we're going to be using him. No, you're not, because he's not doing anything.
He's on the sidelines when Zeke's in the game.
Pull him out of the backfield. Line him up in the backfield. Have him go out and do a slot route. Have him go on the outside. Have him do something where it's like they've never seen this.
Hey, listen. As soon as they do that, everybody's going to look at Tony Pollard, and then I run the ball with Zeke. And I guarantee Zeke would find a hole.
Right.
A huge hole.
Because they're going to be like, okay, who's going to guard? A linebacker's going to be on him?
I'll say, hey, switch. Hey, man, I'll take him over there.
That's the whole point, dude. You see them doing it all the time, some of these other spots, and they just don't see. That's why Kellen Moore sucks. And not to make it all about Dallas Cowboys, but Kellen Moore as a offensive coordinator, I don't think he has enough. Okay,
did he really have a job? Did he really have people like coming after him? I don't know.
I think the inquiries were more than what they were, meaning they probably got inquiries about him. He interviewed for like 2 jobs, maybe.
The lines.
Yeah. I thought there was 1 or 2, but either way, it's like I think he realized too, and the other teams, whoever talked to him, realized
like, hey,
he's
whoa,
not
whoa.
really ready.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready
Because
for
I don't think offensively he's that great of a mind. He don't make it. He doesn't innovate. He doesn't make it feel like we're completely one step ahead of everybody else offensively. They didn't do that last year when they had the weapons to do it.
He's pretty predictable.
Yes, it feels like we're running some stuff that he'll come up with a player here, like that option play.
Yeah, that was
that
cool.
option play was nice. It worked.
Right.
Like we need to see more of that. The teams know what you're gonna do, and they're doing that. I mean, because they got Dak. Dak can't do a lot throwing wise. He's not Aaron Rodgers, dude. He's not somebody that's gonna be able to just like do a ton with the ball when he gets it.
Right.
I think he's just as basic as anybody else is out here. Like he gets out here, he don't read defense as well because he throws it to the other team all the time.
Right.
Just as bad as what they want to say Romo is. And Vermouth.
I got him in. I got Freiermuth in like 2 leagues.
I still say this, man. They would have had a better shot if they'd have left Romo in the game or let Romo come back in the game when he got healthy. I think they would have did better in the playoffs against the Green Bay Packers when they went to the playoffs.
I agree.
That first half of the game, he's lucky they scored. Dak is lucky they scored before halftime because if they did not score before halftime, I really think they would have been like, Romo, get out. And he didn't go out there only because he scored before halftime. If that long pass didn't happen, that touchdown wouldn't happen. He would have been out. But I just don't think Dak has. I mean, you've been saying it, Magnus. You've been saying it. We've been saying it. I just don't think Dak has that. He's a great person.
Yeah,
he's a great leader and has qualities of a leader. But I don't know if he has the skills and the talent to be able to have that same level of leadership and matches his talent.
I think he can take a team to the Super Bowl, but he has to have the team. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got to have the capable wide receiver. Like he needs help. He can't. I don't think he can will a team to win. Like I don't think like Mahomes just picked up Green Bay and Pittsburgh's wide receivers and he's making that work.
Yeah.
Not that they were bad. I'm just saying that they're people are players that those teams have let go, and he's showing that both of them can still be feasible. So certain quarterbacks out there can uplift their team. He's just not one of those quarterbacks. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback.
The problem is he plays to the media.
That thing works. He's Kirk Cousins.
He's too busy playing to the media, and Kellen Moore is in his way as well as his own way, because it's almost like you draft a quarterback and then you forget what they were in college. Dak was a running quarterback in college.
He was.
So why are we going to make him why is he all of a sudden trying to be a pocket passer right now? That's not his skill set.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a good enough running quarterback to be
injury. He's good enough to get you 10 yards for a first down.
No, hey, you won't get an argument out of me on that one. We talk about that all the time. Like there's some times where the field is wide open and Dak doesn't take it.
Right.
100%. Sometimes he's had it wide open. And
remember that one time we were like, dude, why isn't he running more? Yeah. And then they ran like that option at the goal line and he faked it and walked in. And I was like, I have no idea why they don't do that more.
But they only do it on those 1 or 2 yards.
Right. They're worried about him getting hurt. And also on top of that, I think they've pumped his mind up to think that he is a passing quarterback.
That's why I said Kellen Moore has gotten in his way, because everything is designed for the offense for a pocket passer.
Yeah.
Said Joe Flacco. The Jets suck. I'm sorry. There's NFL Network on here. It just reminded me of you picking the Jets over the Browns.
The Jets, man.
That's what it sounded like.
I was gonna ask him, and he was like, "Man, he still has something in him." I'm like, how many years after the fact that he has? You saying he has something in him, dog? I was like, isn't he like 40 years old? Like, dog. What do you mean?
Flacco old, dog.
Maybe
That dude
Cam
got-
Newton if you want to say if he was on the Jets. I was like, but Flacco's done, dog. Ain't nothing he can pull.
I will be
for
really
him to be-
surprised if the Jets win that game tomorrow.
He
I'll
can't
be
sustain a whole
like
game.
I think I do agree with you that their defense is good. I'd be surprised if they win that game.
Again,
Like, really surprised.
if their defenses offset each other, it's going to come down to offensive capability.
Brissett versus
I
Flacco.
think that they have more talent and more weapons on the Brown side, and
Oh, yeah.
primarily on the run.
And if it's for a defensive game,
right,
we're going to
they
run
have
the
a better
ball
runners.
all
They
over
have
you.
better runners, so if both defenses aren't going to let us be able to pass the ball all over the place, who can run the ball better? Whose line can hold? And if we need a pass here or there, who has
Amari
a better
Cooper's
quarterback
out
to be
there.
able to do it?
So in 3 weeks, after Geno Smith goes back to being Geno Smith consistently,
That might be this week.
Wow.
It might be. This week.
will
They're in Santa Clara. That might be this week. Geno
Man,
Smith's getting hit in the face this week.
that's what I said. I'm gonna give him 2 weeks of being consistent at being Geno Smith.
No, I think last week is going to be his aberration because
That's what I'm saying. This week he'll be back to the regular Geno Smith, and then he'll be Geno Smith again next week. So if you're Seattle, do you go out and get Colin Kaepernick?
No,
of course they're not one.
Nobody's gonna get Colin Kaepernick.
I think that's done.
He's done. He's like 33.
Yeah, but that's not the reason why he's done. It's just nobody wants to take a chance on it.
I think Pete Carroll would.
Dude, he wouldn't. He's been out of the league literally how long now?
I think if he got on somebody's team, he could be an effective backup.
Right.
I
He'll be
truly
Geno
think
Smith's backup. He's gonna be cheap.
They're not going to get him. Don't get me wrong. I stand by the
run
fact
game.
that that's not going to happen.
Look at this dude cutting up through. Yeah, he gonna do that.
Yeah, Chubb's going to run all over the Jets.
So do they make a trade for Garoppolo?
Garoppolo ain't going
Depending
nowhere.
depending on what the
Garoppolo
San Francisco
is-
wants.
No, and let it right. Depending on what they want.
If they want,
they'd have to ask for the world because they
Yeah.
made a point to sign him now.
Yeah.
So Garoppolo's there for a reason. And Trey Lance is 1 and 2 as a starter.
They're lucky that he's back with them because that
I was gonna poke,
I don't know why they went and said he's gonna be the starting quarterback. That's kind of wild.
Listen, I've been poking this San Francisco fan in my job. I was gonna poke Callie about it as well.
Like, why did y'all just flat out say
last year? I said it. I thought it was an awesome situation for me as a Rams fan. The 49ers were struggling figuring out who to play.
Right.
To be completely honest, they should have started Lance last year.
Yeah.
And let him figure out what the hell's going on and then give him a training camp. And this year it would have been a little different.
Yeah.
They were trying to win. It's a conundrum.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough. And I was hoping they got rid of Garoppolo for this reason specifically, because Lance still isn't ready because you didn't play him last year. And he's going to suck this year for a little while. I think he's going to pick it up. Don't get me wrong. I think eventually, but he's going to be a good quarterback for them. And they're going to be tough to beat once he figures things out. But, he came from North Dakota State, and it's not a D1 school, and it's going to take a little time for him to figure things out.
Things are going to be fast.
Right.
So, yeah,
they're not going to be good until he figures things out.
And the bad thing about it is that y'all went.
And here's the deal.
Y'all went to the second round of playoffs.
And
y'all got out the wild card.
To the NFC Championship game last year.
Right.
And they were up. We just came back and beat them. Listen. And they did it with a guy who was sitting right there over there on the bench. Oh, yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm glad y'all signed him back because that's going to be some drama.
It's that Alex Smith thing, man. It's that San Francisco just can't get away from these quarterbacks that can get you to somewhere, and then they want to be like, we'll take the other guy that's sitting on the bench.
Right.
And then that dude's still sitting there, and it's like, really?
I'm still here.
Okay.
You sure you want him?
I'll just keep getting y'all here, and then y'all just keep not wanting me.
You sure, sure you want him?
And then they go crap.
Right.
Because isn't that what happened after Kaepernick took over, and then they left?
Yeah, Alex went to
KC. And then they just kind of fell off.
Kaepernick took him to the Super Bowl.
But wasn't Alex still on there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But Kaepernick was the starter then.
Right. But I'm saying, Alex, when they got rid of him after that Super Bowl, when he was not on the team with the KC, they didn't. That's when everything started going downhill.
That was it.
That was the peak. The peak was the Super Bowl.
Right.
But that was after he took over the job.
If the lights didn't go out, they probably would have won. Harbaugh would have won the Super Bowl.
Well, didn't Garoppolo take him to the Super Bowl?
Twice, or once.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
dude,
he sure did.
How many? That's what I'm.
He did.
That's what I'm saying.
I love it.
You got a
man.
quarterback that took you to the Super Bowl.
I absolutely love it.
And it's a miracle throw.
And here's the deal:
Mahomes.
They gotta make Lance work. They traded a whole bunch of shit for Lance, dog. They've got to make that work.
That's crazy.
That's got to work.
This dude took you to the Super Bowl, and he's still sitting on the sideline.
This is comical to me.
I just don't know, man. I feel like teams that do that junk, it's like, oh, you can't. You got to ride. Like, I wouldn't trust y'all at all. If I took y'all to Super Bowl,
they started him last year. They should have got rid of Garoppolo a long time ago. If that's what they were going to do. But they seen this dude in practice, and he's throwing picks.
Well, why not trade Garoppolo?
Lance isn't ready yet.
Trade Garoppolo after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, immediately. Hey, dude, he
if
barely.
You know that's what you're doing.
And if you know that he's been injured, like. You see these guys' injury reports, like, hey man, this dude's struggling for these things. I would have tried to trade him soon after the Super Bowl.
But now they gave him that no trade clause, so Jimmy has all the power.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I said it's done now. Like he'd signed to go play with a contender,
right?
Like if Herbert, God forbid, Herbert went down, he'd sign there to try to play with them to try to win. I think he'd give up the clause for that.
Dude, I'll be honest though. Seattle wouldn't be a bad place for him. Ain't like he don't have any weapons.
He's not going to Seattle. 49ers aren't sending him to Seattle.
Never. That's too much.
That's not happening. And you know what they would do? We'll send them, but give us first rounders. And you ain't giving up no first rounder for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nah, because he ain't gonna make them. I mean,
and then they'll say, well, then give us a second rounder.
You do have weapons. I think you got a decent tight end. You got 2 good receivers.
I'm going to tell you something.
3 good receivers.
I think that they do not want to win. They want one of them kids out of school. That's all that's what I think. I think they want the first pick in the draft.
So Lockett, DK can do.
Swallow
Lockett probably feels like, yo,
Lockett probably is upset. DK just signed a big ass deal, so DK is fine.
He's young enough, and they got him, so he's gonna chill.
That's why DK signed it. He was so adamant about getting that deal.
Right,
of course,
because he didn't know who his quarterback's gonna be. He doesn't have to perform for a deal now.
He just wants the money, and now he probably.
Well, you should because look at your quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna put up no great stats with Geno Smith and Drew Luck.
Nah, Geno Smith is not good, unfortunately. Like, he's just not. He didn't look good in preseason.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild.
All right, Doug, I got another one for you. Dolphins at Ravens.
Actually, that might be a decent.
I told you there's good games
that
tomorrow.
That might be a decent little one right there, man.
What's the weather like?
They're playing in Baltimore, right?
It's in Baltimore.
Oh,
it's probably gonna be sunshine. It's gonna be clear.
I'll take Baltimore. No, if it was in Miami.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna be 100 degrees in Miami,
like hot,
hot.
That means it's gonna be 110 on the field. I would take Miami.
Yeah,
you're taking Baltimore, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm taking Baltimore now.
Okay, one of the big games of the weekend.
See my dude,
Bucks at Saints.
Oh, that's why they said the kryptonite. Yeah, I thought they were playing them this week.
Yep.
I'm taking the Bucks. I'm taking the Saints on that one.
Yeah, I'll take the Saints. I think they'll beat them up.
I would take the Saints again.
I think they're gonna beat them up.
I forgot. Who would you pick on the Ravens Dolphins game?
Oh, Ravens.
Oh, I'll take the Ravens.
See, if we were betting, this is definitely a Dolphins pick. But yeah, I would take the Ravens as well. I don't know though, because they got some defensive injuries, dog. It would be tough, but I think the Dolphins can win that game.
The Dolphins can win. They have a talent. They have talent offensively to be able to win. Defensively, they got some guys. I just don't. I mean, you will see what the momentum takes them from last week's win.
Right.
Because last week felt like a type of game that they did what they should do with the talent that they have.
We're all in the Saints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Saints are going to win. They didn't. If they had a competent team they played last week, they should have lost.
I agree.
The defense played well enough. If we could have did something offensively,
right?
They held them to what, 9 points?
Yeah,
by field goals before they scored anything. So or scored touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be. Tom Brady got too much going on at home. Unfortunately,
and their line is all beat up and everything else. So.
Oh yeah, they got injuries.
Yeah. So their business is getting out now, right?
Oh, she's asking for divorce?
No.
That hasn't happened. But she did admit that she didn't know that dude was coming back.
Ooh, I'm telling you,
that
dog,
dude. That dude made that decision and did not tell her.
He might be out.
Yeah,
out mid-season.
I'm not trying to stir up the drama with Doug over here talking about a mistress and stuff. I'm not talking about all of that.
Long story short,
she's sleeping with somebody on the side now, got her side beat. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying there is now reports that he didn't tell her that he was coming back.
Wow. No, he didn't. So, when he made that announcement,
he was definitely upset about that.
I wonder who he got drunk with and
basically, she's basically told him.
Because they asked her, that's another thing. They asked her, would it be his last season? And she was like, something to the extent that, I'm not sure what it is if it's not. Like something like to the extent of, I don't know what he's gonna do if it's not.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff starting to eke out that she came out and said he did not tell her that he was coming back. I was like, damn, that is definitely a family decision to make, and you just made it.
After once training camp started, she took the kids and went to Europe.
Yeah, she went to. They said she went overseas.
She was moving.
I wouldn't doubt if he made it through the season, and then
all her business is based there.
He got to think, man, is it worth it?
Evidently, that dude must be psycho child.
But she said they've had plenty of discussions. She told him how she felt, that he needed to be more present in her life and his kids.
Not a lot.
And that's a choice. That's a choice he has to make.
These are the kind of things that kind of.
And she said,
can knock on your legacy.
And she said, at the same time, I have to do what's right for me, and he needs to do what's right and makes him happy.
Right. I mean, think about it. This entire time while he's been playing, what's she been doing?
I told you.
Have you seen her on covers of Model and stuff? And
she's been getting knocked down. Look at that. Yeah, I mean,
that chick has been taking care of them babies.
Still bring it.
I agree with that, but he hasn't been.
He ain't been
as
present.
active
He ain't been there,
right.
But that's why I'm saying, like, those are the kind of things where it's like you talk about this.
She don't have to. She don't have to be on covers.
No, she doesn't.
She got more money than him.
But I do agree that she wants to work. She wants to do stuff. She doesn't want to have to be there because she's always been the one taking care of the kids.
Yeah, that's
like, think about the fact that he's doing what he wants to do. What if I want to take a trip to Milan and do a shoot?
And he's done enough.
Right.
To where it's like, yo,
right.
dude, like,
it'd be one thing if he was still fighting for a championship.
Yeah, dude. If
you got 7 of them.
If you were John Elway and you're like, yo, this is 97 or whatever,
right.
and you're like, yo, I'm trying to win. And it's like, okay, I'll give you 1 year, 2 years, and you need to do something then. Cool. But you win, and then you come back and win another one. Cool. He won enough. He's shown enough. He got enough going on. Take your way home, dog.
Yeah, it's time.
And now it feels like you got to. Now I know it feels like that's got to be on his mind.
Oh yeah.
Dude. It's not like I said. I gave you the example. Try and play a game when your girl asking you,
right?
What you or she goes and does something. You think you can fit a game in. You realize quickly after the kickoff, dog. We just already. We ain't even out of the first quarter yet. I'm over here. It's already been like 15 minutes. Like, dog, you know that he know that. Like, he was trying to end that Cowboys game quick. Like, y'all, hurry. Come on.
Hurry
I
up.
told her I gotta be back home by 10:30.
Right.
So I know this long season gonna take an effect, dude. He don't realize he might be gone. That'd be crazy if he bounces.
No,
Like
I think she told. No, I think she told him he can finish the year out.
Yeah, I think now, yeah.
well, you say that, and that's easy to say.
Oh, well,
until
he's
things
gonna get
start
left.
happening.
He's about to get left as soon as the season's over. I think he doesn't want that to. She doesn't want that to be a distraction.
Well, this is the
I
thing.
think.
How many
matter
times,
of fact, they probably already didn't talked about that.
How many times have women told you to go do something? You think you're getting like, oh,
Right,
she understands,
yeah.
and she's already packed her junk, ready to go. Oh yeah. No, you can go ahead and hang out with your friends.
I think.
Go ahead and hang out with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I think Giselle has already told him.
Me and AB.
Here are the divorce papers.
It's funny you said AB.
Go ahead and hang
what
on
did I tell you?
and then when the season is over, go ahead and sign.
Hey, I told Magnus the other day, AB's been knocking it down.
Like I told you, man.
If
AB, I said what I said.
Twitter twirls.
If AB says something, if AB's done knocked that out, bruh, she on another level.
If that's the case,
wilding.
She wild.
Super wild.
And it's always also a reason why that dude's playing like garbage. I'd be heated.
To be tied to AB forever and you Giselle Bunchins. Come on, girl.
Yeah, she's whack for
like,
that.
come on.
If that's what happened.
Come on, girl. And it's not to try to diss AB, but AB's wilding out here. And it's like, come on. And that's not because she's
I feel
not
like
black.
that would be on purpose.
Yeah, but
like
dude, that's on her too, though.
Right.
That's the thing. You got that stink on you too. Like that's not just you ain't just doing that to be like you do that with somebody that everybody looks at as like, oh, it's pure. AB's easy. Come on, that's too easy. It's so easy that it's nasty.
A setup, though.
Well, no, he had to leave training camp because they had vacation plans.
That's whack.
And by him being in training camp, he was gonna have to cancel the vacation. If he canceled the vacation, she definitely was filing a divorce.
There it is.
So, and that's why they came out and said, well, this was already a plan
before the season.
Before training camp, we knew he was going to be taking this time off. And he probably was so football still while they was on vacation. And she was like, go play football. You go right ahead and go play football.
Oh man, we didn't make it through all the games. I know.
I was still. I mean,
you're still going.
There's a few other. You said the Niners were going to beat the Seahawks, right? You said that was easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to beat the Falcons, right?
I'll stay away from that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet. Listen, to be honest, out of all the ones that you were looking at, Brandon, to play, I would probably right now I would for sure play the Browns over the Jets.
I'm telling you.
I'll have another one I wouldn't touch. The Lions are hosting the Commanders.
Okay, so let me ask you something. I wouldn't touch that game.
Oh, I did. Okay. I wouldn't touch that game at all. That's why I said this is another one I wouldn't touch. Who do you think will win, though?
The Lions?
Man. Detroit?
Yeah, I think I have to go with Detroit, too. But I really felt like Detroit was going to win last week.
Because Carson Wentz turned into Carson Wentz in the second half.
So that dude's going to be out of the league here soon, right? Or no?
Yeah, unless he decides he's okay with being a backup. He'll be Baker.
I think Baker might be better than Carson Wentz. Is that weird? Is that off?
No,
but I don't think he is.
I think they're similar.
Oh, you don't think he is, Doug?
I think Carson Wentz has a better arm.
Yeah, you may be right.
Yeah, but he throws a lot of picks.
They're both horrible. It's hard to grade two bad guys because Baker just has bad decision making.
Like a lot of picks.
Baker's
makes bad decisions.
And Carson Wentz just his.
So does Carson Wentz.
No, I'm saying Carson Wentz makes really bad decisions.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm.
Baker and Carson make bad decisions. They are equal in that point.
But Carson's always playing for the big play. Every play's a touchdown play. That's his problem.
But so he should just check down, take
Yeah,
his
except
take what the
You got to
defense
take
gives you.
shots though.
like the way he played in the first half last week. That's what he did. Everything was kind of intermediate, and then when it was there, he hit for the bomb twice.
I mean,
But Carson Wentz is
you
who
kind
he
of got to
is.
do what you got to do. But I think, I mean, I don't know. I didn't get to watch that whole game, but the
The
Jags,
last one.
all right. But yeah, I think the rest of the teams, between the Giants and and the Commanders, they just played teams that were like they played equal teams kind of thing. Like,
Right.
you play teams that were just. I mean, the Titans aren't the Titans anymore. They're back to who they should
Correct.
be. Probably.
I agree
like,
with that.
they've been playing outside of themselves for several years. Derrick Henry clearly right now at this point doesn't seem like he's what he was a couple years ago or a year or so ago. Before his injury,
they are the first. Well, I won't even say first.
Well,
they were
for
one
last
of
man,
two Monday night games. They were playing the Bills this week.
for last man standing, I would take Indianapolis though. That would be my pick.
Colts over Jags.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a decent pick.
I'm taking Bills over anybody. No.
I mean, the Bills over the Titans. You taking that?
Oh yeah.
But you want to save the Bills.
Yeah, no.
You
I want to wait.
you don't want-
Any of the top tier teams. I mean, I took the Eagles last
Take
week.
the Rams over the Falcons.
Shut up.
Why not?
Why? I'll wait for y'all to. Who do y'all got a better matchup than that later in the year?
It's gonna be tough.
Is it?
I mean, we play the AFC West. The AFC West plays the NFC West this year.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
all right. Well, maybe the Falcons will be the best pick in that situation. There's got to be another game in there that outside of your division.
We play y'all.
Oh yeah, see right
and,
there.
And LA.
When though? Is it within the time that Dak's gonna be out?
In the next 3 games.
Oh yeah,
they're saying,
you're right.
No, they're saying that Dak's gonna come back our game.
4.
I think it's like week 5.
Yeah, he's not
week 4, week 5, something like that.
Yeah, he won't be back. He won't be back. They're saying that they're leaking that garbage. He won't be back by then. And if he is back by then, he's gonna get hurt.
We're
or he
week,
won't throw the ball
week,
well.
fourth week, fifth
Russell
week.
Wilson was out 5 weeks, and his was a ligament.
His was a ligament.
They put a plate in Dak's thumb area.
Yeah, it
He
was a
doesn't
clean
even-
break.
He
They said
doesn't
it's
even have
great.
he doesn't have the flexibility. He has to learn to get the
Week
flexibility
5.
in that thumb.
Yeah, he ain't be back by then.
Week
so
5.
yeah, that might be the
October
game.
9th.
Well, we'll see what Cooper Rush does tomorrow. If he lights it up, just lights it up.
Would you give him the starting job over Dak Prescott if they win every game?
Dude, they put. Oh, you know what I was thinking? If that does happen,
Could Dak lose his
depending
job?
on how it happens, not Cooper Rush. If they had somebody else with a better name.
What does that mean?
I mean, if
Cooper Rush is out there
think-
throwing touchdown passes and
I
y'all
think-
win every game,
I think no,
is Dak in trouble for his
because
job?
Cooper Rush is a known. I think if they had an unknown that came in and did it, just like Dak was when he took it from Romo.
All right.
If you have a unknown name come in that was like, yo, that did it, and they could be like, dude, we don't know. Like, let me say this: DiNucci. If he's on the practice squad now, I don't think he's an active. He's not even an active quarterback. But if somehow he got promoted and he got out there, if Ben DiNucci came out here and started slinging this thing around, getting deep touchdowns, running the ball, being that I can run my legs and I can throw the ball. If he was doing that and he went on like a 5, 6, 7 game win streak,
Right.
then we might be talking. Cooper Rush, you know what he is. Then you almost got to look at the game and say, you probably would look at it and go like, okay, he did it, but that's not okay. Dak, get back out there.
Right.
If somebody like Ben DiNucci, where you could bank your actual like if he developed that quickly to win those games, you might even say he could stay in and be the next quarterback for the next, because he's young enough to where it's like he could be our quarterback for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
Okay. We'll
Cooper
see.
Rush isn't
We'll
gonna
see
be
if Rush goes out here and wins every game. We'll see what happens.
he won't.
He won't.
He
I
had
know it.
one good game last year.
Speaking of, can the Cowboys keep this game in check? Like I think that it's going to be closer than people think. I like Burrow's going to throw all over your defense, but I think
that's the only shining point is that we'll have is our defense. That's it. I think the offense is going to be so anemic. The defense is the only thing will happen.
But I don't know how
we'll
I
get
feel
worn
about
down.
Cincinnati's defense.
We'll get worn. Okay, and that's fine if they had
They
Dak.
won't be making the playoffs. I know that.
He's been saying that for a while.
Doug, we've been
Cincinnati-
saying that. What were we talking? Where were we at? Where were we at? We was at what was that? Janky Smith's. What was that brunch spot we went to that evening after the common table?
Yeah.
Earl's table.
Oh,
and we was over there talking, and we was talking about the Bengals. I didn't think they were going to be.
They're going to make the playoffs, though.
But we said they weren't going to make the playoffs.
Mm-mm.
But I just need more than a year for them to be.
They'll make the playoffs
because now they're playing like we're Super Bowl entitled.
So do you guys think that they're going to look like they looked last week? This week, all them sacks,
possibly yes,
correct. So that's
all
why
those are doable.
That's
those
why.
Are all
that's why I asked. That's why I asked in the beginning, is there a way the Cowboys can keep this game close?
Yeah, it's on Dan Quinn and the defense.
Yeah, the defense. That's what I'm saying. The defense is the only bright side. And if they're showing what they did, what the Bengals did last week, and it's open for somebody like Trayvon to come out there and get them picks, because you got to think Burrow might be a little overzealous because of last week. Even though, again, what would we say? They started early with the turnovers. They started early with their deficit. Then they made their run back. That's the kind of the way they seem to have taken their identity. Is we're okay with going down. We're gonna fight back and be able to come up, right? But if that's gonna be their thing, their calling note, you gotta finish it on those situations. I don't know if that's gonna happen in them week in, week out. Because this might start hemming on them because they don't know. Again, if you've been good for a 2-3 year span, and then you have like a year, like it's maybe
right.
That doubt can come in. Burrow's doubt. Burrow got hurt, and it was all the 2
I don't
years
know
ago.
how Burrow wouldn't have doubt. He gets smacked every weekend,
right? And I'm like, yo, dude, you've been getting. I like the resiliency.
Yeah,
obviously, the fact you can come back the next week and do it. I mean, that shows mental toughness. I get it, and I'm not saying that he's mentally weak and he would just get like flustered and be out. I'm just saying sometimes your confidence can make you think that you can do whatever, and his game might change just because it's like he feels he can do whatever, and it's like it ain't working that way anymore. When it just don't work anymore, and you're like,
right,
I'm doing everything I did before. How's it not working? But you don't know how to differentiate between this is just the ups and downs. That's why I say Mahomes right now is doing what Mahomes does, because Mahomes have had 2 years where it was like, dude, you probably should have won a Super Bowl like 2 years in a row.
Right.
But it didn't happen, and you didn't look good in those situations. But he's able to roll off that and be like, yo, I'll come back with it. Can Burrow do that? And that's the thing. That's why after a Super Bowl run,
I don't know.
After a Super Bowl run, I need to see what his response is to it this season. If it's just going to be, I'm a good quarterback, I can play, and I'm thinking I'm still a Super Bowl quarterback, but I need to see that everything happened the same way.
All that being said, I think that they are still one of the top 7 teams in the AFC.
They are. They're good. Yeah, they're still good. You can't. I'm not going to take that away from you. Yeah. I just don't know if top 2.
They'll make the playoffs.
Maybe.
All right, man. I'm going to bed.
All right, man. We'll deuces out. Thanks for joining.
For sure. Y'all getting out for games tomorrow? What?
I'm not sure.
We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see how. Cool.
Later.
All right, man.
So the two that you probably can pick from are the Broncos. I think are going to be the Texans. Broncos are hosting the Texans. And the I Own You game, the Bears
and the
Packers in Lambeau.
Oh, the Packers.
But the two tough ones that we didn't get to are the last two. Mm-hmm. Cardinals at Raiders.
I'd take the Cardinals. I mean, I'd take the Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Raiders.
I think I'll take the Raiders.
Man, I think the Cardinals are not going to make the playoffs.
Dog, I think they're going to be like, yeah, we shouldn't have signed this. I think Kyler's at that
I
point
don't
where
think,
it's like,
I don't think.
I don't know. He'll be able to own the Cowboys whenever he plays them because he just owns them. But when it comes down to nitty gritty and cutting time, dog, I don't know if he has that it. He almost seems like he might have that like game controller type attitude where it's like, oh, it's not my week. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Next week. And he got his money, so it doesn't matter. And they pulled back all that crap that was said. Hey, we took that out of contract.
Right.
Why?
They should have kept
leave that in there. Like,
right.
Who cares? Y'all want to? We paid you to play, bro. What are you talking about? I don't care that you feel away. Who cares? Get out here and play. I don't care about optics at this point because no one's gonna care either way. Because guess what? If you get out here and lose, they're gonna be talking about it regardless. You got to win. That's just all result based. So I don't know why he felt like he needed to have that removed from his contract, and they obliged, which I'm like, dog.
They should have never obliged.
Leave that junk in there. Just kind of be like, yo, yeah, okay. We talked it over. They could market. They could go ahead and get somebody out here to write something up for them and be able to get that straight. They didn't have to say nothing about we got rid of it, we pulled it out. Nah, F all that. We ain't pulling that out. We're gonna leave this in here. We're gonna hold you accountable to this. I did want to play you something, man. I wanted to play this.
Yep.
I don't know. This will be new to me. Oh, why did I do that? Because I didn't even have to.
Monday Night Football game, the last one, might be the big game of the week.
Which is
Vikings at Eagles.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. Eagles look nice. I think they'll win the division.
I think the Vikings will win that game.
The Vikings, they got the white Kirk Cousins. So yeah.
Kirk Cousins. Never mind.
They got the white Kirk Cousins. So I think that they are going to be able to make some moves. They got the best receiver in the game. Clearly. Outright. Running away with it.
Devontae's really good.
He's good as a player, but he's not the best.
I think he might be the best wide receiver.
I don't know, man. I think he's really, really good, but he has a quarterback that doesn't do what he should do. He had him. When he was with Packers, he was the best.
Jump over there, though. That dude jumped over there, too. He stayed in bounds and then jumped for the first down.
Oh, yeah, that's the first time. All right, so I'm gonna switch this up a second,
okay?
Because I wanted to jump in this way. I know we were kind of going. When we do these live streams, it's just so easy to just keep going, and we don't have no real thing with it.
It's just a conversation.
I do want to switch it over to the NBA real quick. We're not gonna hang on this forever,
for sure.
But obviously, it always goes there. But I want to hear this because I haven't heard this, so I want to know the take. I just came across this, so let's see what this is. Hold up. Here we go. Hold on. Let me see. All right, let's go.
Bring them into this era, and they're not beating that.
Let me refresh it.
That MJ team right now, we can turn them into the Super Bowls and bring them into this era, and they're not beating that Golden State Warriors team.
2016.
None of them. I hate how you guys try to downplay any of those Warriors teams. They're not beating any of them. None of them. LeBron came back from 3-1 because that's LeBron James.
That's right. That Bulls team wouldn't be down 3-1.
You guys are delusional. You guys are so delusional. No. That MJ era is very overrated.
LeBron's smacking every team that the Bulls played in the finals. The only one that maybe has a chance against LeBron in the final that the Bulls played The only one is maybe the Sonics.
So the Utah Stockton Malone, they're not.
Do you want to talk about what Kyrie would do to Stockton?
What year are you playing in? What era? What rules? All that stuff.
Whatever,
That's why
it's
these
not gonna
comparisons.
it's not gonna be
that's why these
that
comparisons are
simple
nasty.
and that
But
easy.
whatever rules you want to make and apply them, LeBron's winning. Whatever you want to do, whatever fancy schmancy stuff you want to do, LeBron's still winning. That MJ team right now, we can turn them into the Super Bowls and bring them into this era, and they're not beating that Golden State Warriors team.
2016.
So what do you think about that take?
That the Bulls can't beat the Warriors?
Any Bulls team could ever beat any Warriors team. Oh, let's say this.
I mean, well, they beat them a lot back in the day, so those teams weren't good, right?
Any of the current day Warriors team. Let's say this. I think what they were going for was that any Warriors teams that played LeBron, the Bulls in the 90s could not beat. So that's 2015, 2016, 17, 18. And I'd have to say from that point forward, I guess. But if we're just going on what the idea of the conversation was, that the Bulls teams in any portion of the Bull, any of the 6 championship Bulls teams could not beat any Warriors teams that LeBron faced.
I don't agree with it, but I mean, they really think that the teams today were the best. They really do think that a lot of the teams today are more capable. It's like I said earlier. It's like you want to compare eras, and it doesn't make sense to, because the old teams will have the benefit regardless. It doesn't matter what year or what rules you're playing with or anything. Like, that's kind of how it works, because they played with tougher rules, and now you want to play with they're playing with lighter rules now. Yeah. So either you're going to play in their era when they're better because you're not used to it, or you're going to play in your era where they had to keep up with harder stuff than you guys did. So they're going to find it easier to score. Now, you might be better at scoring, but I don't know how much better you are at scoring if you can play with a team that's going to – I mean, I feel like physical teams would learn how to still be physical in a non-physical game.
You think there are tricks? They'd find tricks and things that they could still be –
when I've played basketball, I recall a coach saying that refs aren't going to call everything.
Right.
Because ultimately they're not going to see everything. And even when they see everything, they're not going to continue to just call fouls to stop the game.
Right.
So ultimately, there's going to be stuff that you can tap, get away with, push, whatever. Mm-hmm. People are doing it now, and fouls don't get called. So,
yeah. I mean, obviously, when you discuss the era aspect and things like the Bulls, compared to what is going on right now, yeah. I mean, the one guy said it. It's like, what rules are we talking about? And you had mentioned it earlier, as far as, when we were discussing basketball or discussing football and then moving into the basketball realm, right, is that the only thing I could maybe say would be if guys nowadays, if playing with older dudes that came from an era in the 90s or the 80s and moved them to now, as much as spacing, I think it would just take time to figure it out.
Yeah, like day
one, yeah, Kyrie would cross everybody. Giannis would put work on people. Embiid would kill people because he'd be outside and be able to shoot threes. But again, I think that's a lot to do with
how good is
Embiid's
3-point shot when he has to shoot it all the time.
I don't think it's that good. If you're forcing him, you want him to more shoot.
Yeah, threes. Like I like you're not Reggie Miller, where I'm like, man, I got to get out there.
Because if you were,
I would much rather use Shea out there.
That was a lot of it, and then again, that's why you had like players like Rashid and KG that were kind of different guys that could
Right.
hit a three, that would Dirk that could
Right.
stretch it out and be like, okay. So it's not like I've never seen Arvydas Sabonis is a big guy that
Where
could
do
go
you
out
think
there
it
and shoot
started
threes.
from? That's where it started from. Is
Right.
these players?
Right. Those hybrid, not hybrid, but those unique.
How tall was Hito Turkoglu?
I
How
thought he
tall was
like
Tony
6'10" or
Kukoc?
something like that. Tony Kukoc was like 6'9" or something like that, 6'8", right?
Peja was
Peja
6'8".
was like, yeah, Peja might have been like, yeah, 6'7", 6'8", yeah. I mean, they'd never not seen. It's not like they hadn't seen that before.
Right.
That's why I don't understand when they talk about the difference in eras when it's like the talent level. I honestly do feel like they think of highlights of these players.
Right.
Kyrie's not crossing everybody in the league every night.
No.
He's not breaking ankles on there. There are guys in San Antonio right now that are holding him. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there are players like if Kyrie could do what he wanted to do whenever he wanted to do it, why is he not averaging 50 points a game? You know what I mean? Like
Makes sense to me.
if we're talking about players that are better than a lot of players back in the day, then why aren't we seeing more guys averaging 40 points a game or, you know what I'm saying, 38 points a game on a consistent level? Not one season that was an outlier. I'm talking about like, yo, this dude has averaged literally 35 points for the last 3-4 seasons because he's just doing this. And it's just something that we just can't handle.
Right.
Now, they'll tell you, other fans outside of the era will tell you, well, the talent level is just better. The defense is just better. It's just hard to play defense. Yes, they'll say that's why. Although we know the rules have been changed to benefit more of where it's at now for offense than it is for defense. And it makes more sense for guys to not play much defense now just because of the fact that there is spacing. I do believe it's harder to play defense when there's a lot of space. The difference with it is that when you don't put effort in your defense and that's team wide,
right?
Y'all don't put effort in the defense, that spacing becomes a fucking gulf between us. So now you can be out there, but nobody chased you to get out there. How did you get out there? You got out there because the guy that could have switched over to you or manned you up didn't cut through the screen and just said, that's cool. He'll shoot. We'll go back and play offense. That's right. So if you don't, those mindset, you got to think back in the day, man, back in the 90s, back in the 80s, there were defensive specialists that was out there to play defense. That's what their game was. The majority of the guys out there were to play defense. You had maybe 2 guys that were offensive dudes, and then you had possibly a 4 or 5 that was going to be
were to play defense.
That
was their thing. That was their calling card.
That was their thing. But they also had guys that were like a 4 or 5 that could be an offensive component, meaning you're the 3rd option or 4th option if we needed it, meaning we'll set a play up for you to post somebody, turn around and do a spin move off the backboard.
Right.
But they don't have to, the guys now don't have to think about that, dog. They're not doing that at this point. They just out here, I don't know. I guess I just, to me, I just don't know where the difference is with when they say that the guys now can be like, they're so offensively sound, they're so defensively sound to where it just feels like the eras back in the day would just be befuddled when they come across them.
Right.
Again, like I said, if we're talking about players now, and again, this is one of the things, and I know we'll get to that point when you always discuss basketball and you talk about great players. If the GOAT now is playing currently and he's wearing a Laker jersey, if that's the case and he's playing against great players, and then if we want to discuss about a whole entire decade of basketball in the 90s to say that guy didn't play against anyone, then we're officially saying there are current players in the NBA that are better than Michael Jordan as we speak. There's one, you can't knock a whole decade of basketball and just say he played against lesser talent. Who did he play against? He played against the Sonics. He played against the old Portland team. He played against the washed Showtime Laker, which was No Time Laker because they weren't the real Lakers, Showtime Lakers. He played against Karl Malone and John Stockton. One of the points that he said, do you know what Kyrie would do to John Stockton? I don't know. I just know John Stockton know how to play defense. There's guys right now that know how to play fucking defense against Kyrie.
He leads the league in steals.
Come on, man. Like, again, you say it because you see the flash and you see all that. It's like, but there's a little more to it than that, man. You can't just easily just throw this out here and act like, well, I see Kyrie and Kyrie has some moves and he can dribble. To be honest with you, Kyrie outside of 2016, he needs to get more credit for 2016. I don't think he get enough credit for that. He balled out. Just like Bron. Bron balled out too. They squad came back from 3-1. He balled out in that.
He did.
That probably was his peak. I don't know what he's going to be doing after that. He was great in Boston. They didn't do anything. He's now in Brooklyn, not doing anything.
He's all right.
Well, again, he's good. But what does that mean? I don't know what it means to say you're great, but you're not winning anything. What does any of that mean? Because when you're great, I would still think that you can muster up some sense. Again, I don't think much. I like KD, but is anyone talking KD being top 5 all time?
Nope. They better not be.
Like, there's guys online that 100% act like KD is getting dissed by people. And I'm like, KD to me is like what I used to think about. Like, I think you're a great player. You're good. Like, I don't have no problems with KD, but I honestly would think KD has to think, I have to win on my own. I have to win more. I have to win more.
I don't think that's him.
I don't think that's him either. But to me, I think it's really wild that it wouldn't be him, because it's like, dude, why do you not think that you need to like win multiples? You won with a team that was stacked already. They had already won. They won 73 wins, or they got 73 wins. You went to that squad, and you think that you've just did it because you got 2 championships with them and 2 finals MVPs. I like KD, man. I think he's a great player. I think he's very talented. But I also feel like there's guys that probably would look at him and be like, oh, yeah, we know how to get you out the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
They can take him out of the game.
There's something about that stuff that they don't really seem to account for, because everybody just goes off the ability during the game when it happens. It's like, oh, his scoring ability. He can.
And
do
they
this.
like
It's
the Flash now, man. That's what
I was gonna say that too. The Flash is a big one. The Flash is a massive thing. Is that it's like the flash and the flare of the dramatics and what you do in the moves. Because I can see a 30-second clip from Kyrie out here, and then all of a sudden it's gonna make it to where that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, oh, he's doing that to everybody. It's like, yeah, he's doing that to that guy. Do we even know who he did that to?
Right.
Like, do you even know his defensive prowess to say that might not be the guy that would be I'd say I put on him all the time.
Right.
But he gets a move, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that's it. That guy. And it's, again, KD, Kyrie, like y'all. I don't have no problem with y'all. But I feel like they kind of get this projection when it comes down to them being in what they do, is that they're just so great where it's like nobody could guard them. Nobody can do nothing. And I'm like, so we're officially not even worried about winning in the league, right? Like, we're just about stats.
I've seen Kyrie get frustrated on the court.
Right.
I've seen
KD get the same way.
Right. And it wasn't a defensive stopper.
You did it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was literally either something in that person's head, or somebody was just being a pest. Like, I've seen people get upset or frustrated, and they weren't being guarded by somebody that was an all defensive team player.
That's what I'm saying,
so
man.
I don't know what's gonna happen. That's a tough thing to call, but I don't know what's gonna happen if a prime Dennis Johnson is guarding Allen Iverson, or a prime Joe Dumars is guarding Russell Westbrook, or something like that. Like, I don't know what's going to happen there, because I know those guys can play defense. And sometimes you struggle with people that can't play defense.
Right. And you also struggle against people that aren't I'd say fundamentally sound when it comes to defense. Again, placement and where you are in the court and knowing how. That's what made Jordan so good at it. That's what made Pippen so good at it. Is that they knew how to position their bodies. Kobe, Kobe gets slandered now. Well, I say this. I'm not gonna say Kobe gets slandered because Kobe gets both. Rest in peace. But he gets elevated more in certain cases, and then he gets the diss in other cases. It's really weird. I just felt like with him is that it's like, man, Kobe, I think once, we're still dealing with the fact that this dude's gone is really still wild to me, and it's sad because you see him and he's, but with him, it's like, I maybe people didn't realize how good he was, and it's not because he was just trying to be a Jordan, but it was like, dude, I think he embodied a lot of that, and I think he had a lot of talent and skill, and I think the mentality aspect of it, as much as everybody say Mamba mentality, but Mamba mentality wasn't there in 2000, meaning he didn't coin that. It wasn't like that was his thing. He just had that, right? So you turn that into something with the Mamba mentality aspect, but I think that's just different. Right. That's like the biggest intangible thing to me for a players of that ilk would be you have this mental fortitude that's just beyond anyone else out here, to where you can forego anything that's being said to you at this point in time. And if anything, the players that you play against know that, and they can't do anything, even if they're talking to you. Right. And they'll try. There's going to be players. Matt Barnes talk all the time to Kobe, right? Like a lot of players that talk to Kobe. But then Kobe's the one talking that back. And he's starting the game off like that. He's doing it. That's the way it starts. So it's like, it's just that to me is one of those things that's so intangible. I can't tell you.
They don't really measure that.
You can't. I mean, it's intangible. You literally cannot measure what that means unless we have these guys with some like helmets that measure the fear and all. Yeah, it's like, and they're playing. I was like, they can't measure that. I was like, but that's something that I can watch and see, and I get a vibe. And you get other players that on the court. I can see it on the court. I'm like, that's one thing that I feel like when we talk about the greats and even Larry, Magic, see it. There's to a degree, even Karl Malone type. Like there's Charles Barkley to a degree. There's guys out here that were just balling, and they
had
care.
A little something extra.
Yeah, you can see it in some people's eyes out here that are current day players, that kind of have that give up, that kind of have that. Well, okay. I mean, Steph Curry, I think, is really dope. I'm not saying he's a give up dude at all, but I'm saying that I think there was a point in time where he kind of figures out sometimes that he's like, okay.
He's also had the luxury of not having to carry everything every night. I think there's some times where he's has it not going and people pick up the slack.
He had that in the finals,
right?
He had that in the playoffs. Period. He had that against the Mavericks. I think that's how we got one game because he wasn't on. Yeah, no, it's true. He's
now on the flip side, when he balls, they definitely win.
Yeah, if he's hitting and shots are dropping, it's done, like kind of thing.
Right.
I mean, it's a major aspect, man. And that's something that I felt like I could see in early D Wade. He kind of had that where it was just relentless. Like, I'm just going, dog. I'm going right now. There's D Rose was one of those guys before he got hurt. Like, that dude was just going at people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Current day players. I mean, one of the current day players, and I know he's not gonna get a lot of it, is Luka. I think Luka's one of those dudes. Although he kind of has that, like, if the refs are against me, then I might check out.
Is it give up time?
He might, if the refs make him feel like it's time to give up. And that's not even a player. That's the refs. That's what's so garbage about it, is that it's not even players make him feel like I'm a check out. He'll get frustrated by the refs, period, which is wild.
Right.
Like, dude, come on, man. If a player's doing that to you, I get it. Because if anything, he's making players frustrated.
Right.
But the refs literally make that dude frustrated, and he'll start hoisting threes that don't make sense. He'll start just kind of not playing. He'll start zero playing defense.
Right.
He won't get back on transition. He just sits on the other side with his hands up, and then go like, oh, and then they get scored on, and then it's like, dude, what? Come on, we need you down here.
Right.
Just that mentality of these players, man, right now, I don't know. I know you feel y'all need AD, but y'all got Braun, and Braun has that bravado of that mentality. It exists to a degree with him. He's made it through. He's gone through a lot of controversy. I think he's lived off the fact that people, he gets a lot of hate, but he gets a lot of praise too. It helps him out because he has the Laker fan base, and I think that's a good reason that he went to the LA. I think he wanted to get that extra layer, like anybody going to the Cowboys. If they were trying to go to the Yankees or Cowboys or Lakers, like right. I think he wanted to get that extra little bit from y'all too, man. Y'all gave him a little pump. He got y'all championship in 2020.
I mean, he didn't start like that though, right?
Well, because he had to prove himself.
Right.
He was LeBron, and you're coming to the Lakers. You're not just gonna. This ain't Cleveland.
He was really upset when he. Well, maybe he didn't care, but that first year he didn't feel like he wanted to be here. So,
do you think he felt that maybe he misjudged the Lakers organization and the fan base? Like he didn't really do research and know exactly what it meant to be, what it meant for someone going there. Well, right, but why?
I think he talked like he did, and he knew that when he was showing up there. But who knows? Yeah,
he had Magic, he had Kobe. They could have told him.
So I think they did. I don't think that. I'd be hard pressed to think that Kobe didn't tell him that. Now, yeah, I think they'd be hard pressed because that dude went, and I'm sure he told Kobe he was going. That would be over my, like, I would be blown away if they didn't talk about him going to the Lakers before he came to the Lakers.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's been a bumpy ride. But so honestly, I'm ready. Like, whenever he's ready, I'm ready.
I mean, he's ready now. AD's ready now.
No, I'm talking about LeBron. Whenever he wants to go to wherever he wants to go, that's good. It was a good run.
It was a good run.
I'm ready. Like, because they're going to try to give it 2 more runs since he signed that contract, but it's kind of like.
So how do you feel about this team?
I don't know what it is right now. I'm praying for a trade because right now this is.
I know the fan base wants Russ out.
This is a little crazy right now with all the people that are in. We have 5 point guards. Like right now, there's
you said that. You said that. You said we got these guards. We need some wings.
So I'm assuming there's got to be a trade. There has to be a trade. Like they couldn't like. If they go into the season like this, I don't have a lot of faith in what's going on.
I just don't think they would have signed. He would have signed the extension, and they wouldn't have traded for Pat Bev if they didn't have something in line.
Yeah,
they got to have something in line. It's just be when it's gonna, whenever it's gonna hit.
It's very surprising to me if they went into camp like this.
It just seems like a real wild one right now, and I'm like. We'll see, I guess. I don't know.
I told Doug. Doug calls me all the time and says, "Man, what the hell are they doing?" Blah blah. And I'm like, "Listen, calm down. You'll get what you want. If this doesn't work, Rob Pelinka won't be here next year. So, like, if they put together a team and they suck, like they don't win. But if they put together a team and they don't make the playoffs, I think Rob Pelinka's gone.
Yes. But why? And who would they get? Like, first off, why is that on Rob Pelinka? Not because he's the GM. I'm just saying
I think because he's put together a couple of teams that didn't get quite what they were trying to do. Like last year was the worst season in NBA in their
history. Yes, that's a big.
It was the worst.
Big, yes.
And he put together that team. regardless of who helped him do it.
Right.
You're the GM now. Like you can sign off or not sign off.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people say about Bron saying it or not saying it doesn't matter. Ultimately, if you want to do what he wants to do, that's still on you. You know what I'm saying?
It is, but it doesn't. It shouldn't feel as pressing as the way you just made it sound.
I don't think. I think
that shouldn't be as pressing.
We'll see.
I know we'll see. I know we'll see.
Because I think Jeannie Buss would fire Rob Pelinka. I'm not
maybe
saying,
he definitely listened to that.
I think from what she's been talking recently, they better get it right this year. They better be in the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, someone's getting fired. It's not going to be Darvin Ham.
No,
Darvin.
They're
I think Jeannie Buss believes in Darvin Ham. I think there's.
Does
something
she
there.
believe in him, or does she believe in what people have told her to believe in? Meaning,
no, I think she believes in Darvin Ham because
why? What tie-in does she have with him?
It has nothing to do with the tie-in. I think. I mean, you sit down with people, you talk to people. I don't know. I think she's buying.
But that has
in.
to be because he has a
I also think
a history with the league.
So why would he get permission to do whatever he wants? And Vogel didn't get that shit the entire time he was here.
Well, because I think we understand why Vogel was brought in.
Oh yeah, I think he was a lame duck
from the jump,
and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like this is a different coach. I believe she believes in this.
I don't think she'll fire him. She won't fire him simply because you can't fire a guy you just brought on. You'll damage what you even have.
That's nowhere.
There's
close
no
to
way
happening.
you can do
Only
that. He's not going to get fired.
So that's why I
doesn't
said
matter
like,
where they end up.
It doesn't matter what happens.
If y'all are the last seed in the West, it's not. He's not going to get fired. He's not going anywhere.
But Rob Pelinka would. That's what I'm getting at.
I would say this for Rob Pelinka in this situation. It feels like when you have someone that you believe in too, because I feel like it kind of goes both ways. And I understand that's last year was a worse year than in Lakers history. But the other thing on top of that is there's 2 or 3 people that hold that on them. And you got rid of one of the dudes because he agreed, thought he could do it, Vogel. He's not. He couldn't do it. He couldn't manage it. The other 2 dudes are still there. We can't not give a bit of responsibility for how the season went
for those other 2 people.
With the other 2 people.
I do.
And I also feel like because you have one person and the thing is that's what gets me, that it's like that's a major piece too. Outside of Pelinka, the one other piece is a major piece that you believed in. If you believe this dude has an idea of what his team should be and who he can play with, right. I trust you. That can't just be thrown under the bus to be like, well, because I'm like,
I understand what you're saying. What I'm getting at is that's the team you have now. It is like this isn't the Lakers. That's what I'm getting at. We've talked about this many times. So if you know that's what I'm getting at. They're gonna first off, the Lakers do that with superstars regardless. Yeah. But this is a scheme. So we've sacrificed a future. That's why I said they're gonna make a trade. I think they're bargaining over whether they can protect some stuff, whether they can swap some stuff. I think eventually it's chicken. Somebody's going to cave eventually. Either they're going to try to get one of those 2 teams to cave and do what they want, or the Lakers are going to have to fall on the sword and give up 2 draft picks. And they'll do it because they're trying to win right now.
I mean, they definitely are trying to win right now. That just seems like...
Bro, I know. I know. I root for them every night.
Like I said, I know.
They don't care about the future. The youngest player that's got a longest contract on our team, we just signed, in Austin Reeves. Like they don't have no like. And the crazy thing is, their farm system ain't bad. Like they find great players. Like Scottie Pippen Jr. is balling in the G League. Like they've got players out there that are playing well that they could bring up. And it's almost certain that that's something they're going to probably start having to do because they want to, but because to fill some spots, they might have to bring up cheap players because there's not a lot of people out there that they can afford.
Yeah. I mean, they can't,
like even if they just hung on to the team and ran it out, they just signed Bron to that big ass contract. So they're really only going to have like $30 million, not the 47 they're losing with Westbrook.
That's crazy.
And with the 30 million, I mean, you can't pay any, like, Kyrie's making 36 off the last end of a deal. He's trying to make 42 next year, you know? So that's going to be out of it. Now, there's a lot of free agents out there, but I don't know how many of them, like a lot of them would take the whole 30 mil you have open. And then how are you going to feel the rest of the team? Mid-level exceptions. These people are trying to make a good deal, prove a good deal. So that's kind of where they are.
What's the optimism with the team? Where do you think they'll rank?
Oh, I mean, I can't tell you right now. Like this team, as is play in. Like maybe that's the best thing they can do.
Okay,
they'll probably not make a playoff. They have 5 guards. That's what I keep saying. Like they just picked up Schroeder. They've got Patrick Beverly.
Whoa, that's a done deal.
Yeah,
I didn't know. They said they signed him,
dude. That's
1 year league minimum
that's
type deal.
Yes, $2.5 million.
Man,
I'm telling you, they've got 5 guards. Like something.
So they're picking up players.
Something is going to get.
They're picking up players to trade.
Something has to happen.
They're picking
That's
up
what I'm
players
saying.
to add to a trade.
That's what I'm saying. I can't make a judgment on what they're doing. This team can't go in. If this team goes into the season, they're not going to win. And I'll
so
go
crazy that they're doing all this, and it's like
because it looks like
they're going for an Indiana.
They're going to keep Westbrook. No, right now it looks like because they're talking about Westbrook coming off the bench now. You haven't heard?
I heard about that. I heard about that.
Like,
somebody there was a stream on that.
They're saying that he is going to come off the bench. So, or there's a chance. So what right now they're saying is there's going to be position battles everywhere. So Reeves and Lonnie Walker are going to be fighting for a 2 or backup 3 spot. They said Kendrick Nunn is going to be going against Schroeder for playing time. That's another point guard. Patrick Beverly or Russell Wilson will be playing one of the point guards. We have two big men that are going to probably play for the spot for 5. Like they've got all now that part I don't mind. Like they're literally putting these cats in competition in camp, and they pretty much told Westbrook, "Hey man, this dude makes $47 million a year, and you're going to be battling it out with a league minimum.
I mean,
for playing time." And I am quite all right with it.
I mean,
if he's going to stay on the team, if we're not going to make a trade, let's do it. Here's the deal: play. Like, what are you going to do? What else and he needs another contract, so he's got to play.
You need this is
so let's go. Like
he got his money, but he needs.
You're going to get your money, but if you don't want to play, then okay, then don't play, and you're going to be on the bench.
Man,
I wanted Vogel to do it last year. So if you play well, if you play defense or you make an effort on something, if you can't, then you're gonna be on the bench.
I think man, it feels like last
and
year.
They'll start Patrick Beverly. They'll start Patrick Beverly. They'll play Austin Reeves. They'll play any shooter that they get in LeBron and AD. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that team.
But that's the thing. I've got when you first asked me about it, I'm saying the same thing. I can't make a call. I have to assume they are going to make a move here in a second. They're going to make. I would assume they're going to make a move before training camp.
Yeah. No, everything that they have and what they're doing sounds like they're building to make a move. There's been discussion behind the scenes on whatever team they're talking to. If you can acquire this, and this, or these things, and they're getting them to in order to be able to make a move. So
because at least like the Indiana deal doesn't bring any more point guards back, but you get rid of one. So that's something where I think they'd be okay with that because they wouldn't. They've already got. I mean, LeBron makes 5. That's what I'm getting at. They've got plenty of points.
They got guys that can handle the ball. You're straight.
We don't need any more guards. So if they make a trade, it better be for a damn wing, or at least someone who can play the wing or shoot the 3. if they don't get Bogdan or healed, like
that's who it was. Yeah,
right now on the
Bogdan,
team.
yeah.
Somebody was getting on me when they made the trade for Beverly. They're like, why would he get him? Like, he's really even not, like, they even said it. He's not really even that good at defense. Westbrook said it, and I was like,
so here's one.
So I'm going to tell you that he's now the best defensive player on the team. And that's real.
Westbrook for Bogdanovich, Beasley, and Clarkson.
That's the thought right now, but I don't know if that's going to happen because Ainge wants both picks, and the Lakers do not want to do both picks, which I'm not exactly sure why. Because you fucked the franchise for the next year.
So
anyway,
what picks are those?
So here's the deal: the Lakers have. So it's 2023 coming up next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
That pick is going to New Orleans. So, wherever they end up at the end of the night, that's their last New Orleans. Well, there's a swap after that, but that's pretty much their last New Orleans pick that they just get. I think if they don't want it, they can let the Lakers have it. But I believe if it's a good pick, like if they don't make the playoffs and it's decent, they're going to take it.
Okay.
2024 is a pick swap with 2025. So if the Lakers have a good pick, the New Orleans Pelicans get the 2024 and they get to keep the 25. Or if they want to keep the 25, they can keep the 25, but take the 24. Dang. Or not take the 24.
Yeah, man, it gets real.
So, but after that, they own their own 26, 27, the 28, and the 29. And they're talking about the 27 and the 29 and all these deals because of the pick swap. They don't know the 4 or 5, and you can't give up 2 picks in a row.
Right. That's like a rule that they put
in the collective bargaining. Right.
Yeah.
So if they have to give up the 5, they have to keep their 6.
Mm-hmm. So that gets them to the 26.
So the 7, it can guarantee that they can give you a 17 or a 7 to 27 or 29.
Yeah.
So those are the ones they're playing around with. But ultimately, so we're keeping Bron for 1 more year and then another year. So that's going for it for 2 more seasons. And a lot of the talk now is because they want to try to keep space for next season. I don't know why, because you're going to have to spend it. Like, it's cool to have $30 million, but they have a better chance of spending $10 million on 3 different people than $30 million on, Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's coming up next year for them?
There's
to
a lot of
look
people
at it going out to go get to play with a full roster with y'all.
That
you don't have to fill a spot. Because how many deals? You went over a lot, but it's like, how many deals do you have that are going to be multiple year deals to where you won't have to go re-up next year? Sounds like a lot of stuff that is going to be.
So outside of 3 people, 4 people, everyone else is on 1-year deals.
Right. It feels like every year is going to be a new deal for the whole team.
LeBron James. That's LeBron James' team.
That's wild.
That's how they work.
That's wild.
That's why I said, this isn't the Lakers anymore. We're on LeBron's schedule. I've been saying that. Like, that's not how we're not going to work that way. That's how he works. He brings in league minimums. You play with him for a year. If it doesn't work out or it does work out, they'll bring you back for another year. And he would sign a 2-year deal
to keep that leverage of
so
being
you can
able to have the back
and then I can bounce if I need to. Yeah, that's the way it works.
I don't have no problem with him doing that, other than the fact that it just seems real wild that you can get away with that. You get away with doing that, and yet it's like when you don't have a team that can compete and you haven't built a squad. Like, I don't know why Kyrie left the first time when he was in Cleveland. Not that he was ever back there. Just right. I don't know why he left him in 2018. What was the problem? Why did you leave? I guess the ultimate question to me would be, if Bron can't keep teammates to stay with him consistently that aren't just like dudes, that just seems wild. I just don't know why y'all couldn't. I honestly just don't. I mean, again, we talk about it. I don't know why he couldn't work with the guys that he had in 2019. That 2019 for another year, unless you had like guys up on contract that you had to sign. And
they were all young.
Yes, you wanted to get rid of them because it was like, well,
he's trying to win. And here's the problem: he got rid of them, and they won. So that's the issue.
Yeah, it confirmed. But again,
now they had a squad.
They did have a squad. They signed. They did what they did last year, but it worked.
They had a squad, right?
Yeah, they had a squad.
And it worked. But the problem is, like,
and now you're held hostage.
There's five.
To the idea
there's
that
five people
worked.
From the team previous that are all playing at a higher level now on other teams.
Right.
So, I mean,
again, that's why it's tough. It was worth it because you got another banner up there. The other thing though about it is that you had the worst season. That's why the contrast of that is so wild.
Right.
You have the polar opposites. Y'all had the worst season ever, but then you also won a championship. But again, that championship is still going to be looked at as like not a championship. It's just there was no parade. It was an odd, weird year. And when that happened, it almost fits that year would happen that you win a championship and LeBron's on your team. It makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
That feels fitting to me. Oh, yeah. He can sit down with Shaq for sure.
Squeeze.
Zeke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it. Yeah, I think a lot of these people might be restricted. Actually, no, they're free agents. So this is the one everybody's been kind of saving up for. Wow, the Lakers still have Russ's bird rights.
You want to share that?
I don't know how to do that. I'm just on a
website.
I mean, I can.
You just go to the StreamYard site.
Right.
Should allow you or not. Maybe it does. I don't know how that works. But you should be able to share yours.
I can't even get the damn. For what?
To get out of that. Did you split your screen? You have your screen split.
I did.
So over here.
Settings. I can put it in the chat. It's frozen because it's dying.
Yeah, I was about to say that button right there. I think it's gonna be it.
That's going to tell me, do I want to cut and paste it somewhere?
That's chat. Not your share? That's not a share?
Sharing the chat. Like sharing the StreamYard chat is what that is. I can send this to somebody who wants to be on the chat.
Oh no, I didn't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
seen it from your side. There's got to be a section where it's going to tell you that you can share, like share your screen. Like I can share my desktop.
Yeah, I think it's shit.
Share
just
screen.
Kicked me out.
Yeah, I did. I see that. Maybe that's fitting. Maybe it's time. Well, thank you all. It's been 3 hours, and so we've been just going.
Yes.
It's been a minute. So I'll say this. Signing off. We'll get on, I guess, at some point in time. We're just going to keep doing this, even if nobody's watching. Guess what? We're going to keep doing it because that's what you got to do. You got to stay committed to
all
what
in there.
You do. And if you don't do it that way, then you never make it. So we going to make it, and we going to be here in a month, whatever. It don't matter. Anyways, man, this is Brandishing Magnetism extended podcast. Everything you talked about, everything we talked about. Yeah, we out.
Man, we'll
catch y'all when we catch y'all, man. Whenever we'll see it.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.